radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening, Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah. How you doing? How you doing? Don't ask me what I'm doing. I see glare. I don't like glare. I don't like glare. These lights. Maybe that's better. It's like in my face. Got to turn the lights down. It's Fade to Black, Bespoke Radio for the masses. Today's Tuesday, September 28th, 2021. 271 days into the new year, only 94 days left. We are live from a bunker somewhere in the middle of nowhere, a total undisclosed location. But it is beautiful. I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR and the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? Tonight is night two of our road trip week right here on Fade to Black. And tonight, very special guest, Billy Carson is here. We're going to talk about his recent trip to Egypt. He just got back, calling this show the Halls of Amenti. That's right. I think you can figure that out. And if you're not familiar with the Halls of Amenti, tonight you will be. Tomorrow night, right here on Fade to Black, Todd Standing. Todd Standing is here, night 3. That's right, 3. Have you seen Inglourious Bastards? 3. The scene downstairs in the basement of the pub, drinking beer. 3. Yeah. 3. All right. Todd Standing tomorrow night. He has had a lifelong journey and road trip about his search for Bigfoot. We will be covering all of that tomorrow night. And then Thursday night is another Fader night with open lines all night long. All right. Let's see. Jimmy's got that Johnny Depp hair. I do. Do I got Johnny Depp hair? Man, that's a compliment. That's a compliment. All right. What a great week on the show. Cannot wait, man. Cannot wait. Tonight, Billy Carson. A couple of things. I just posted up on social media. I did it across the board. Our trip that is coming up to Egypt. Myself, Billy Carson, Muhammad, Ibrahim, Johnny Enoch. We're all heading over for the Emerald Tablets Tour of Egypt. It is February 26th through March 9th. The links for the tour and everything that you need to know have been posted up on social media. And I know you want to go. I'm finally heading to Egypt, and I cannot wait. And going with Billy and Johnny Enoch, it doesn't get any better than that. And I know you want to go. 2 weeks, man, 2 straight weeks in Egypt. We are doing everything over there. If you go to the website and click, you can see the entire itinerary, when and where and what we will be doing. An amazing Nile cruise as well, hitting all of the spots. And I just can't wait. I cannot wait, man. I cannot wait. Billy just got back from Egypt. So did Johnny Enoch. And watching their post throughout social media, the view from their hotel, the night that they get there to Egypt, just walking out to the balcony and snapping the pictures of the pyramid complex. And you're just like, man. Well, you know what? I am going to be that guy. I am going to walk into my hotel room, drop my bags. I'm walking straight to that patio and live streaming. I'm going to be doing it, and I'm going to be able to take that picture that everybody else does. So there you go. It's up, and Billy and I are going to talk about that tonight too as well. Very excited about this trip, and it's coming up so fast. I can't believe it. We're nearly in October. A couple of events are happening right in front of us. First off, and I don't do this, you haven't heard me mention this, for 500 shows. We are coming up on our 1,500th show. And I didn't really notice it. Tonight is show number 1495. Okay? So we're coming up on show number 1,500. And Renee, shoots me this email. It's a big anniversary, man. It's falling on this date. And she's got it all calculated out. Lays it out. And I'm like, holy crap, 1,500. And the last time we mentioned anything, it was show number 1,000. And how long ago was that? Year and a half? Right? 2 years ago? We're coming up on show number 1,500. And that is indeed a milestone. That is indeed a milestone. And then, yes, I know, I realize my birthday is coming up in less than, what's today, the 28th? Yeah, it's coming up in 12 days. So, so that's coming up right as we're doing show number 1,500. And, I'm going to have a little party. I'm going to have some of my friends over. So, that's going to go down. And the cool news is this year my birthday is on a Saturday. Holy crap. That means we can let loose. We're going to do it how the Romans did it. The Romans, we're going to do it as the Romans did it. I will talk more about the Romans' style of a party on another show. All right. Lots to talk about tonight. Insane breaking news today. Insane. I'm just going to lay it out there. Yahoo is reporting today that in 2017, as Julian Assange began his 5th year holdup in Ecuador's embassy in London, the CIA plotted to kidnap the WikiLeaks founder, spurring heated debate among Trump administration officials over the legality and practicality of such an operation. Some senior officials inside of the CIA and the Trump administration even discussed killing Assange, going as far as to request sketches or options for how to assassinate him. Discussions over kidnapping or killing Assange occurred at the highest levels of the Trump administration, said a former senior counterintelligence official. There seemed to be no boundaries, end quote. The conversations were a part of an unprecedented CIA campaign directed against WikiLeaks and its founder. The agency's multi-pronged plans also included extensive spying on WikiLeaks associates, sowing discord among the group's members and stealing their electronic devices. You can see the entire report. The disclosures in this are disturbing. There is a pretty lengthy video that goes along with this, and you can check everything out over on Yahoo. Well, also, earlier today, Amazon announced its long-rumored home robot. It's called Astro, and it's going to sell for $999. Astro is a day one edition product, which means it won't be sold to everyone at first. Instead, Amazon will ask people to sign up and then invite them to order the robot. That allows Amazon to avoid building too many gadgets it won't sell and a public flop like the Amazon Fire phone, which was, of course, discontinued back in 2015. Amazon said Astro will go on sale later this year, and there's not that much time left, but it did not give a specific launch date. It's worth noting that Amazon has made similar promises about future products that either never launched or were severely delayed. I've seen photographs of this robot named Astro. It's got 3 wheels, 2 big ones, little tiny steering movable wheel in the front. It's got a big pole in the back with a big camera on the top. It's got a screen in the back. No arms, no legs. It's not picking anything up. It's not cleaning up after you. But it will act as a guard dog around your house. You know, it can do that. It can, you know, while you're gone, it'll walk around and look at things and show you things. So it can do that. And also it can add, it's a smart home listening device. So you can tell it to do things and turn things on and off. You can do that. You can make friends with it. You can talk to it. It'll follow you around. It'll play music for $999. All right. Well, today, NASA has unveiled new images and video of the most powerful rocket the U.S. Space Agency has ever built, the Space Launch System, otherwise known as the SLS. It's intended to have its first launch again later this year, and we're already in October. Well, in 2 days. 2 days. Not quite in October. That's Friday. But contractors working on the SLS completed the umbilical release and retract test, otherwise known as the URRT. They did that back on September 19th in preparation of the Artemis 1 mission, which is scheduled for this November, next month. And the umbilicals, which connect the rocket to ground support equipment before launch, provide power, communications, coolant, and fuel to the rocket and Orion prior to ignition and liftoff. The Artemis 1 mission will see the Orion spacecraft, the SLS, and the ground systems at Kennedy combine to launch the Orion 280,000 miles past Earth, around the moon, and all of this happening over a course of the 3-week mission. Very exciting news. Let's get the show cracking. Happy birthday to today. Bridget Bardot is 87 years old. Wow. Naomi Watts today is 53. I like Naomi, by the way. She was great in I Heart Huckabees. How about The Ring? Guitar god George Lynch today is 61. I've got one of his guitars. It's right there. Can you see it? Oh, I'm looking at the camera here. You can only see the bottom of it. It's right here. The George Lynch. Moon Unit Zappa today is 54 years old. Our dead guy's birthday today is, I need a serious moment of silence for Benny King. 1938 to 2015, died at the age of 76. Ben E. was the singer and co-composer of Stand By Me, a top 10 hit both in 1961 and 1986, and number 25 on the RIAA's list of songs of the century. And he was also the lead singer of the Drifters, singing the lead vocals on most of their popular hit songs, including Save the Last Dance for Me and my favorite, This Magic Moment. He rarely performed with the Drifters on tour or on television. Most people don't know this. On television, fellow Drifters member Charlie Thomas usually lip-synced the songs that King had recorded with the Drifters in the studio. That's right. He Milli Vanilli'd. Following a brief illness, Ben E. died in a New Jersey hospital, the Hackensack University Medical Center, on April 30th, 2015, at the age of 76. On this day in history, OTD, it went down in 48 BC. Upon landing in Egypt, Roman general and politician Pompey is murdered on the orders of King Ptolemy of Egypt. Yeah, there's a whole lot to the story. Pompey, he got defeated by Caesar, and so he splits, and he's like, Ptolemy's my bud, right? So I'm gonna go to Egypt. I'll have safe harbor. It'll be cool, and Ptolemy's gonna hook me up. Ptolemy wanted nothing. Why? He didn't want to piss Caesar off. He didn't. So he tells. This is the story. Tells Pompey, it's cool, bro. Pull your ships in. Come on shore. Come on. And he does. Whacked. Right there on the docks. Fader fact. An ant can't die from falling. Because of their incredibly small weight and hard rock exoskeleton, an ant's terminal velocity isn't enough to harm it upon impact, even from the top of the Empire State Building. That is your Fader fact. You just walk away. Whatever, dude. Can't hurt me. Tonight, night 2 of our road trip week right here on Fade to Black. Billy Carson is here to talk about his recent trip to Egypt and the Halls of Amenti. Tomorrow night, Todd Standing is here to talk about his research and search and road trip trying to find Bigfoot. That is going down tomorrow night. Thursday is another Fader night with open lines all night long. All right. Here we go. Oh, let me hit this River Moon coffee. Yeah. Rivermoonwellness.com. Man, I love coffee. Let me tell you what I do. I have an alarm on my phone. Don't make me show it to you, because I will. It'll waste time. I got an alarm on my phone. 20 minutes to show time. Bing, 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 goes off. That's coffee making time. That's right. That cup of Joe right here, this Fade to Black blend, is fresh. Yep, it's the only way. So good. Pumped up about Todd Standing. Oh, Christina Gomez. I just read the post. I didn't see it was Christina. Christina and I did a great show earlier. I was guesting on her live stream. It's just incredible. Today we did astral projection, NDEs. You don't think they're related? They are. Great show. Welcome, Christina. Christina is hanging out in the... They have the saltiest fish. What? I don't. They have the saltiest fish. That is Christina's post. I have a natural smoked salty flavor. Methinks. What are you guys talking about? we're talking about the Halls of Amenti tonight. I'm making tacos tomorrow. Okay, so that's the chat room. It's all about dinner. Now you got me thinking about it. All right. Rivermoonwellness.com. Fade to Black blend. Let me explain something. You know, this is the point of the show. You've heard me say this so many times. Can we talk? Well, let me explain something that all astronomers, scientists, astrochemists, astrophysicists, cosmologists, all of them know. Our time on Earth is limited. They all study and understand this. Our sun is running on borrowed time. Why? Well, in a nutshell, it's small. Its smallness has allowed for billions of years of relative stability. Extended periods of smoothness. 4.9 billion years of smoothness. Smooth. Which has given our planet Earth the ability to thrive. Everything with our sun happens because of gravity and its smallness. Since the sun formed, the main fusion process has involved fusing hydrogen into helium. Over the past 4.6 billion years, the amount of helium and its location within the sun has gradually changed. Within the core, the proportion of helium has increased from about 24% to 60% due to fusion. And some of the helium and heavy elements have settled from the photosphere towards the center of the sun because of gravity. Soon, in a few billion years, everything will flip-flop, and the sun will have a helium core surrounded by a thin layer of hydrogen. Fusion will stop at this point until gravity takes over, and the sun will shrink until the pressure of gravity forces helium to ignite. At a much higher temperature, though, and then, boom. The sun will drastically increase in size, taking over the orbits of Mercury and Venus. Our Earth may survive being eaten, but our planet will be scorched to a lump of coal. First, the atmosphere will burn away, and then the oceans will boil and disappear, and, well, that's it. It's over. Although, we're not going to be here to see it. Our sun won't survive the third phase, because that's the first two phases. But we're not going to be here to see phase 3. Phase 3 it's not big enough for fusion. Because what is left is a carbon-oxygen core that takes 600 million degrees to make things happen. So our sun will just slowly cool down, shrink, and release anything left in our star system into deep space. Because it's not going to have enough mass to keep things around. That's it. It's over. That's right. Few billion years. It's done. Now, this is a very complex subject, and I'm trying to keep it simple. So, here is the simplest way I can put it. We can't bank on another few billion years of bliss. That's it. We just can't go into cruise control and hope that somehow things get fixed in the future. Because to get there, we would still have to survive natural and man-made catastrophes, nuclear wars, asteroid impacts, solar flares, coronal mass ejections, and an alien invasion or two. So we're never going to get there. We got to get through everything else first. Right? Even to see that. And all of the things that I just mentioned, all of the above-mentioned intellectual groups know all of this as well. They understand that our time on earth is finite. Very, very finite. So outside of science fiction and cinema, why isn't anybody talking about it and taking it seriously? Now, I'm talking directly about heads of state. Why aren't they talking about it? The United Nations. Real, honest conversation about our future and how we can continue to flourish as a civilization. I mean, it's really funny to me. How can we all watch a science fiction TV series or a movie in which we are all out there in the stars, after we had to leave our dying planet on ships discovering new worlds? And we just leave it right there. Why? We're all probably thinking the same thing. You know that thought. Well, that'll never happen. We'll be on Earth forever, man. It's great science fiction, though. I love this stuff, man. It's so fascinating. This type of mentality has to change. What is wrong with building a starship right now, designed for a friggin' one-way trip to the stars? What's wrong with that? Well, the short answer is nothing. Nothing is wrong with that. And I'm sure the argument is going to be, what's the point, man? You're just going to die on the ship. Well, you could spend 70 years on the starship, or you could spend 70 years down here. What's the difference? Seriously. Just build the biggest generational ship we can right now. Stuff it full with as many people as possible and let her go. Just let her go. Look, somebody has to be first. There was always a first person, and plenty of people who are that courageous, who are willing to be an explorer, who know the risk and take them. And there'll be a second ship, and there's going to be a third ship to the stars. It's going to happen because it has to. This is our future. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, night 2 of Road Trip Week right here on Fade to Black. And our guest tonight is Billy Carson. He just got back from Egypt. What did he see? What did he discover? What did he learn? We're going to talk about all of that, from wheels down to wheels up and the Halls of Amenti. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. Stay right here. We'll be right back after this short break with our guest, Billy Carson.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
Introducing the Game Changer blend from River Moon Coffee that delivers a customized blend made specifically for the Fadernauts. If the game is rigged, change the game. It's a bolder cup with some bite. Game Changer is the coffee of choice for those that prefer an organic dark roast that is slightly lighter and milder, but it's still dark. with wild notes of pecans and chocolate with a rich, balanced, full-bodied cup that is roasted to perfection for a great coffee to start your day, as an after-dinner coffee or anywhere in between. Artisan, small batch roasted to perfection. USDA certified organic, all River Moon coffee is freshly roasted and packaged in the USA. Just go to rivermooncoffee.com or click on the banners over on our site and use the promo code F2B Blend for 15% off of your order today. rivermooncoffee.com.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRAradio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, folks. It's troubling times, and fear is pushing emotions, which in turn pushes health the wrong direction. Do you ever get an ache because life is uneasy? Try Life Change Tea at wtih.com. Life Change Tea works on your digestive tract, helping to move food through quicker and comfortably so your health is spot on. Life Change Tea may not help with world issues, but it will help with your digestive issues. A glass a day helps keep the intruders away. So, change your life today. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. If your health game is off, get on by ordering Life Change Tea. Getthetea.com. And while you're on our site, look around at the great non-GMO organic supplements. And if you're a sales shopper, go to our specials page and see what's for you. I've been drinking the tea for 12 years, and I'm sure glad for its health benefits. Again, that's getthetea.com. Getthetea.com. The tea that makes you go.
Fadernauts, when you think about the future of our country and where we're headed, do you wonder about the food supply? I do. Disruptions in the food supply chain could be disastrous, and they usually occur with little warning. That's why the smartest thing you can do today is to stockpile emergency food, water, and other essentials. I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, serving millions of customers for more than a decade. In fact, they're the only source my family trusts for our preparedness plan. You should too. Right now, save 20% off a full 4-week supply of delicious meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. Saving 20% helps too, doesn't it? Especially now. So go to preparewithjimmy.com and get ready. That's preparewithjimmy.com. There's no time to lose. Do it now.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the planet.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Compendium. You're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Road trip week here on Fade to Black. Last night, Awakening Man and Ra. Tonight, Billy Carson. He just got back from Egypt. Tomorrow night, Todd Standing. His road trips to finding Bigfoot. What a great week on the show. Now, Billy is joining us tonight to talk about this recent trip to Egypt of his. What he discovered there. What he saw. What did he film? What did he videotape? What did he take pictures of? What fascinated him? Well, I'm calling this show the Halls of Amenti. I don't even know if we're going to go there. We might. Billy is the founder of Forbidden Knowledge, the author of the Compendium of the Emerald Tablets, Woke Doesn't Mean Broke, and the expert host on Deep Space and original streaming series on Gaia. I wrote both forwards to both of those books. Carson's Forbidden Knowledge has millions of followers and subscribers throughout social media. He's also the founder of Pantheon Elite Records, a contributor to Thrive Global, and is a registered international journalist. recently, well, this was a couple of years ago now, but I can't take it out of here because it's so cool. He earned a certificate of science with an emphasis on neuroscience at M.I.T. His websites, of course, forbiddenknowledge.com, forbiddenknowledge.tv. The links for everything Billy are over at jimmychurchradio.com. I'd like to welcome back to Fade to Black, the one and only Billy Carson. Oh, Billy.
What's up, Jimmy? What's up?
Man, you know what? I should show everybody one of the texts that I sent you a couple of weeks ago. You're sending me these pictures from Egypt. And my reply was, dude, I want to be you. Did I not send you that text?
Yeah, yes, you did.
And then Billy's reply was, you got to grow about a foot. And then LOL. And so there you go. Oh, man. Billy, one of the things that I mentioned so much about you when I'm speaking to others, your name comes up so often. And one of the things that, I say, he's been to Cambodia, he's been to Machu Picchu, he's been all over Central and South America, he's been all over Europe, he's been to Egypt multiple times. He's out there getting it done, checking out these places and trying to learn things. The exact opposite of me, right? And well, we're going to end that soon.
Yes, we're going to end it soon. Yeah,
we're going to end that soon. Oh man, all I know is when Billy and I are coming back from Egypt, he promised me a trip to Dubai. So
let's go.
Yeah, let's go, man. I want to see what the Hard Rock Hotel is like in Dubai.
Dubai is an amazing place, man. The architecture, it's like every construction is an architectural masterpiece. Incredible.
Yeah. Including the Krispy Kreme donuts, which which they have in Dubai. They've got. I'm not making this stuff up. It sounds like stand-up night at Sir Laughs a Lot in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, but it's really true. Dubai is just beautiful, and so I would really like to check that out. But you and I were talking. Oh man, I'm going to back this up about 2 months ago, and we were in the middle of a bunch of stuff, and you and I were talking, and this is exactly how the conversation went. I said, "Well, Billy, I'll circle back with you in a couple of days." We can't. I said, "Why?" I'm going to Egypt. What? Yeah, I'm gonna go to Egypt. You just got back from Greece, right? And I mean, you were in country for like a few days. Yeah. And we're trying to get stuff done, and then you wing it over to Egypt. So let's get straight to it. Yeah. This last trip, you were over there for what, 2 or 3 weeks?
Yeah, total. I was gone for 3 weeks total, but I spent 11 days in Egypt.
Yeah, 11 days in Egypt. Now, you've been there so many times, and we've got a lot to talk about tonight. But take me through that when you get to Egypt, you check into the hotel with it, but now there's stuff to do. What's on your mind? What was the first stop for you? Not the second, not the third. I mean, what was the first thing you did?
Yeah. Well, the first stop after you check in is, you gotta just get your bearings for a few hours because the next morning, 4 a.m., it's time to get up. Test your equipment, test your mics, test your cameras and everything else. Make sure you have some bread, which is croissants, and water, literally, because you get up before the hotel even opens. So a lot of the times you have to go out there with bread and water. And, the first day was Giza. So Giza, we had a private visit. And, every time I go, I have an armed guard, a private driver, an Egyptologist, and a homegrown guide. And that's how I roll out there. And we had to pay some special fees and do some licensing and pay the government some fees months in advance to get into the Sphinx enclosure this time, which I had never gotten a chance to get into.
Now, wait a minute. Okay, so that was the first stop then, the Sphinx enclosure?
Oh, yeah, man. That was the first stop early in the morning, like around 5 a.m. Where the sun rises at around 5:15 a.m. there. So it's at sunrise. And we're going into the Sphinx enclosure. It's my first time. So on the flight, the whole way there, all I could think about was the Sphinx.
Right,
because
right.
I never had a chance to get that close to where I can actually even touch it. Nobody gets a chance.
You just froze.
Down there and making sure we didn't do anything we weren't supposed to be doing, but got a lot of great footage down there and some great photos.
Okay, now, again, take me through this. I'm going to live vicariously through Billy Carson right now. At 5 a.m, you're there. You've got your production crew with you and things, right? But
yeah,
this is private, so the Sphinx enclosure is empty, right? There's no tourist.
Oh, there's nobody there. Yeah, nobody's allowed to get in. The park's not even open, or the Giza's not open yet to the public.
Oh, man.
This is before anybody can even get there. There's nobody there but me and my crew. That's it.
And it's got to be pretty solemn yet mysterious, right? It's quiet,
yeah.
Right?
Well, when you're walking through, you start to have these visions in your mind of what it would have been like, back then.
Sure.
However many tens of thousands of years ago, because I really don't think it's only a few thousand years old. Obviously, nobody really does anymore. And so you start trying to figure out, like, what was it to walk here when this was fresh and then this whole area was completely built out and there was no erosion and all the colors were vibrant and the people were out here getting ready to start their day, You just kind of walk through and you just imagine, like, wow. And then also I was really looking for the location of where the second Sphinx may have been, which probably got swept away in the flooding, and maybe even some of the stones then got taken away to use to build something else, which happens a lot. I think there was a second Sphinx out there at the Giza Plateau. So I was just really trying to analyze every square inch of that place and really take it all in. Like, it was awe-inspiring to be standing underneath the Sphinx's chin. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy.
Did you have access to the chambers underneath the Sphinx?
No, unfortunately we can't. And there were armed guards with AK-47 standing right there to make sure that we didn't get in there. When you look at the ancient papyrus, there's a couple of papyruses that you can find. One of them, I believe, is in the Egyptian Book of the Dead. You see that Thoth would land on the back of the Sphinx in this funny-looking object. To me, I liken it to like a Merkaba. And then he would go in through the door that's on the head of the Sphinx, walk down a staircase, and come out between the paws. This is before the Dream Stela was put there, obviously.
Right.
And so behind the Dream Stela, I got to look behind it. You can see that they covered up what used to be some type of an entranceway or whatever that used to go into the Sphinx. So what the papyrus is showing, that ancient papyrus, is accurate. And there are pictures of the head, the door on top of the head.
Yes.
Which has now been kind of sealed up. So now I'm getting the full picture, like, wow, this was a landing place for the gods, according to the ancient Egyptians. And he would land there. The Sphinx was built in his honor. He was ordered to be built in his honor, according to the text. And the original face, was not the face of a lion. Even the Egyptologists and the guides would tell you the same thing, the homegrown ones. It was his face, much later then recarved to Amun-Ra's son's face. So it's now his nephew's face. That's why it's too small for the body now.
Right. They kept chipping away.
Yeah.
Run out of stone.
Right.
Let me back up. You just mentioned the Dream Stela. The Dream Stela, curiously, shows a second Sphinx on that Stela. That's not a mistake.
It shows a second Sphinx. And I didn't even know that. That's the greatest thing about this whole thing. Because I was telling Elizabeth, who's running the camera and directing and everything, like, there's got to be a second Sphinx out here, because there's usually Sphinxes in pairs or multiples. And one of them, and there's one area where you could see it would be the perfect location, just slightly across past one side of the other temple that's out there for where the workers used to be. Not a little temple, I guess a workers hut or whatever you want to call it, where they found the documents for the workers' health insurance that they had.
Right, the village.
And their payroll and all that stuff.
Yes.
Just on the other side of that, you could see an opening where it would have been the perfect spot to put another Sphinx, and it may have been right there.
Do you think I've brought this up to Robert Schock and others and John Anthony West? It still may be buried. It still may be
possible.
there. I mean, probably 90% of everything from Saqqara all the way up to Giza. I mean, it's covered in sand. You don't know what's underneath it. And on to the north and to the west of the Giza complex too, you look, and what I've always found interesting, that is all Egyptian military land. It's fenced. You can't get to it, and it's a no-fly zone, so to speak.
Yeah. That's accurate. You can't get to it, and it's a no-fly zone. It's guarded. They have these, these military little outposts where they climb up into this little watch post, and they just sit there all day with their AK-47s sticking out through the hole, just waiting for somebody to do something stupid. They just can't wait. And it's highly, highly guarded, which is interesting. So, and I know that ground penetrating radar came back about 2 years ago over the Giza Plateau from a satellite, and it showed another 200. It showed another 200 buried pyramids underneath the sands of Giza.
Yeah, incredible. Again, there's no telling. What I would do, if I was Bill Gates, right? If I was Bezos, if I was one of those cats, Elon Musk, I would just get some vacuum cleaners. I would. Those big trucks with the big suction thing, whatever, that clean parking lots. Right. Just go out there and just start vacuuming like a snow blower, right? And just start moving that sand, man.
Yeah, I wish it was that easy. But man, there's a lot of stuff there. Now, what's interesting about that, when I went to Teotihuacan, Mexico, in Mexico City, as I was going through Mexico City a couple years ago, I think it was 2018, the guide said, "You see every one of these hills that has a church on top?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Those are all pyramids." There's hundreds of hills in Mexico City. They're all pyramids that are now covered up, and
with
the tops
trees
have been blown off, and churches have been built on top.
Right.
Yeah.
I would say that the majority of Central America, all of that jungle, Guatemala, Honduras, right, Belize, Nicaragua, all of it is covered in jungle, and you have no idea what is underneath that jungle canopy. The same thing, the ground penetrating radar, shot through the jungles through that area. And I forget what the number was, but it was crazy. Like 10,000 miles of highways were built by the Mayans, right? And they found them and they mapped them out, but you're never going to get to it. It's jungle. No. That's it. You're not going to get to it. Not going to get to it. Well, now what was special for you to touch the Sphinx? To go up and put your hands on it. Anything.
Well, I believe that the Dream Stella is a piece of technology. It's a crystal granite receiver because it said that the pharaohs would communicate to the gods through the Dream Stella. They would actually hear the voice coming out of it. And when you analyze crystal, if you send the right frequency at it, you will get, a crystal granite. You'll be able to get a voice. You can transmit a radio frequency through it. So I really do believe that it's a piece of stone technology that was used for these Atlantean Anunnaki people to communicate with these pharaohs in some way, form, or another. So to be able to see it, to be able to touch it, and take a lot of great 4K footage of all the hieroglyphs the glyphs are just pristine until they get to a certain point where the water was, then they cut off.
Right.
But I want to be able to take those glyphs, analyze them, study them. But just to be able to touch that, knowing that thousands of years ago, some Atlantean dude transmitted a frequency into that stone and talked to somebody, what I'm saying? That's wild.
Yeah. Well, the content of the Dream Stella and what it says is pretty incredible because the message was clear. There is something here. It's big. Dig it up and check it out. Right. Yeah, and that's what the Dream Stella states. And again, the Dream Stella shows two sphinxes on it. So I'm with you. There's a second sphinx around there somewhere. Okay. Yeah. So that's day one, and that's pretty incredible.
That's just the beginning of day one.
Okay. So what happened next?
Went to the Great Pyramid, of course. Went down to the Queen's Chamber. I'm really convinced now, after analyzing the format, the layout of the Queen's Chamber, both from being there and also from diagrams, that the Queen's Chamber is a hydrogen separator. In other words, through electrolysis, it would have been able to separate hydrogen from the H2O of the water that flew through there. So I think that they were using, in some weird way, they were shooting hydrogen frequencies through those shafts that are pointed at the star systems.
Yes.
Now, why would they do that? Because we know now in modern times, we use hydrogen as the number one form of the attempt to communicate with alien civilizations, the hydrogen frequency.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that they were using this Queen's Chamber as a hydrogen filter to extract the hydrogen atoms and utilize them to send communications to the alignments of Orion, Aldebaran, Sirius, and all these other star systems that they were aligned with. That's what I really think was going on. Just a hypothesis.
It's about as good as anything, because it's called the Queen's Chamber just because.
Yeah.
Right there. There was no queen found there. There's nothing saying that was a Queen's Chamber. They just call it that because it's smaller and below the King's Chamber. So it's called the Queen's Chamber. But those shafts are curious. Yeah. I've never been able to quite understand why they are there. It's not okay. They're pointing at star systems. Cool. Is that okay? Great. Hydrogen release valves. Cool. It let in air for the worker. Whatever the reasons are, doesn't matter. It's building them that is crazy town. You have to build the pyramid up layer by layer, stone by stone, and have those shafts predetermined and cut into those stones all the way to the outside of the Great Pyramid. That is an engineering feat. People, those shafts get ignored. Yeah. And they're perfectly straight. They're absolutely beautiful. When you look at Gate and Brink and look at the video that has been shot inside of those shafts, they're perfect.
Yeah.
They're perfect. Yeah. They're perfect.
It's incredible. I climbed through the shafts. Of course, the Great Pyramid, anyone can climb into the Queen's Chamber now and go up the Grand Gallery into the King's Chamber. But at the Red Pyramid, after we left the Great Pyramid, we went to the Red Pyramid. And in the Red Pyramid, it's about 60 meters down, and the shaft is pristine, perfect 4x4, and I'm climbing down the shaft, going in backwards because I'm too tall, so I have to go in backwards. So I'm climbing down backwards, basically, and I'm on my toes and my hands because my knees can't touch the ground or I'll tear my knees up, and because I'm just too big. So I'm going down hand-toe, reverse bear crawling all the way down. And then you think you're done. Okay, you get to stand up for a half of a second and go underneath some more beams that are probably only 3 feet from the ground. You crawl underneath that. Then it goes into this amazing opening that goes up maybe about, 30, 40 meters. And you can see even going up almost towards the apex how high the ceiling goes up. And you start to wonder, what is this particular chamber for? Because it's configured in a certain way for a purpose. You could tell that it has purpose as design. And then after you leave that chamber, you go down, you have to crawl again, and you get into another chamber that opens up into this great, vast opening. There's a purpose and a reason for those openings. Nobody knows what they are. I don't know what they are. We documented them. We took great 4K footage of them. And then there was another one, and then some staircases, and then reverse the process and come out. And when I got back out of there and I got back to the van, the guide goes, okay, that was your warm up. Now we're going to the bent pyramid. Are you ready?
Okay,
I was like, that was a warm up.
Now we're gonna get to the bent pyramid when we come back off of the break. Okay, so we got 2 minutes. But my question to you is, I'm not a small guy. Okay, I'm 6 foot. I'm 200 pounds, and I'm not in shape. So I have a big fear of those shafts and having to bear crawl through and claustrophobic things. I haven't even been there yet, and I'm freaking out.
It's tough.
You're bigger than I am, Right?
You know?
What's it like to squeeze through there? Is it claustrophobic? Are you freaking out a little bit?
I'm not claustrophobic, but I can see how someone who is would freak out. I can see how somebody can get stuck down there and be afraid to even come back up, or get stuck halfway down some of these crazy twisting, turning shafts that go all over the place. I can see how somebody would freak out, maybe even lose their bearings down there. You know?
See, now I'm not going. Yeah. See, now I'm not going. Now I'm not going. Red Pyramid off the list. I'll watch you and everybody else go in. I'll shoot video from outside and wave at everybody. I'm a little freaked out about this. I really am. And the King's Chamber at the Great Pyramid, a little bit more open. You got some zigzagging. You got to get to get to the Grand Gallery. But at least you can kind of breathe a little bit and you can stand up and stuff. But this hands and knees going down to the subterranean chamber at the Great Pyramid, I've seen videos of people doing this and how they crawl down and go down and having to pass somebody somebody coming up the other direction. I'm not in. Yes, no, man.
I've done it.
No. For me, it's not that kind of party. I don't know how some people can do it. I'm just a little freaked out.
You got to be in shape. That's for sure.
What about
for everybody?
What about air and oxygen and heat?
Now, here's the interesting part. Some of the pyramid areas are still hot, but some areas are cooler. Like now, it's not like it's AC, but it's if you go in, when you go in, it's like 118 degrees outside, and all of a sudden it drops to 99. You feel a lot cooler on the inside in some areas. Yeah. So. It sounds funny, but you feel good.
118, down to 99. Okay, I can manage this. I'm excited about this trip. When we come back, the thing about the Ben Pyramid that most people don't know, and we're going to do the deep dive into this, there are, get ready for this, kilometers of tunnels.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Kilometers of tunnels. I don't even know if they've found all of the tunnels in the Ben Pyramid. We're going to talk about all of that when we come back. Our guest tonight, Billy Carson. It's night 2 of Road Trip Week here on Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Billy Carson. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this short break.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
This is Billy Carson with ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Forbidden Knowledge TV has just reached its 1-year anniversary. That's right, 1 year. And as a show of appreciation, we are giving all new subscribers a free 30-day trial of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's 30 days to binge watch thousands of movies, documentaries, conferences, workshops, lectures, yoga classes, meditation courses, and so much more. So log on to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv from your computer or mobile device, or get the Forbidden Knowledge TV app on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon, iTunes, or Google Play today, and use coupon code 30daysfree. That's coupon code 30daysfree on ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
Because you never got that pony you always wanted. Damn it. Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network. KGRADB.com.
Listen, I know, and you know, that you've always wanted your first crystal skull. Or maybe you're a collector just like me, but you just don't know where to go to find the real thing. Then I met Carolyn Ford over at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. Carolyn is the guardian of Einstein, one of the most respected ancient crystal skulls in the world. All of her unique skulls have been imprinted sitting with Einstein in his sacred lodge and are carved from the finest gemstone and materials. Imprinting is the process of receiving the ancient wisdom from the master skull or master computer, Einstein, the ancient crystal skull. To see Carolyn's current collection of crystal skulls, just visit her store at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com or click on the banner over on our site. Don't forget to use the promo code Jimmy at checkout to receive 10% off of your order today. That's promo code Jimmy. Finding your first or next crystal skull is easy. Just visit EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2B blend for 15% off of your order today.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. Yes. We're of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And I'm Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. And you're listening to Jimmy Church. The Revolution.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hello, this is Serena Wright Taylor from Conscious Life Expo, and you're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, who holds the Lucky Pony record for the best astrological chart since 1963. True story.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Billy Carson, night 2 of Road Trip Week here on Fade to Black. And I'm going to segue for a second, Billy. I'm going to tell a quick story. I was just over in the chat room, and one of our moderators over there, Bill, who's out of control. He's got his hands full tonight. But he said he went rappelling once, but he would never bungee jump. I think that's good advice. But it reminded me of a rappelling story that I went through. And Billy, I'm going to bore you with this, okay? And feel free to laugh at any time. I'm down in Panama. I'm in Central America, and there was this place down there called the French Cut. You can look it up online, and it's where the French started to build the canal, found out that they couldn't do it. The United States comes in and finishes the canal, but they let the French cut, that's why it's called that. There, they sealed it off on both ends, and it becomes this like freshwater lake. But on both, where they cut through the rock, are these crazy cliffs. And we would go and cliff dive, all right, me and my friends. And so we're 14, 15 years old, drinking beer, smoking weed, and jumping off these 50, 60-foot cliffs. And it was great. Well, we're there, and behind us is another set of cliffs, not in the water, it's dry, and it's probably, I'm going to say 100 feet, up, straight rock wall. and we're down below on the edge, cliff diving. And I look up, and there's like 5 or 6 dudes that come up, and they're wearing fatigues, so they're like Marines, and they throw rappelling ropes down the wall, right? The cliff wall, cliff face. And they start rappelling, and I'm down there with my friends, and I open up my Jimmy Church stupid loud mouth, same pipes that I have right now, and I'm talking to my friends, like, wouldn't it be cool, man, if somebody slipped? Wouldn't it be funny? And so these Marines get to the bottom, and they come up, big strapping dudes. All right, you. What? With the mouth. Right? I swear to God, on everything that I love. Come on, man. You're rappelling. Oh, no. Oh, yes, you are. They come over, they grab me, and my friends are like, hey, we don't know this guy. He's not our friend. And they take me, right? I'm kicking and screaming. They take me up and take me to the top of this cliff, and I'm looking down at my friends. They're like this big down there at the bottom. They're all looking up at me, and these guys put the harness on me thing, and they give me a little bit of instruction. I'm like, all right, okay, yeah, hold here. I said, okay, and they just went, whoop, pushed me off the cliff, and I'm rappelling down, and I made it to the bottom. I did. I'm here tonight to talk about this, but I learned my lesson, man, and that's my rappelling story. I got to the bottom, had a little bit of pee on the front of me. It was crazy, man. Oh, man. Okay, so anyway, Bill, that's my – I know. It really – oh, man. My friends that are with me, we've talked about this story since then, and they were in shock. I paid the price, man. I paid the price. My voice carries, right? Okay. So anyway, let's get to the bed. The bent pyramid. Dude pushed me from the chest too. And I was like inching over. He's like, that's enough.
Oh, you're gone. You're going in. Man.
Oh man.
Well, it's a good thing you weren't getting pushed into the bent pyramid, because you would have been falling for a very long time.
Now, the bent pyramid, which it's got a very curious history behind it. Started at one angle. For whatever reason, they changed the angle. I mean, obviously, it was probably just a bad design. The angle, the original angle, that thing would have been about 700 feet tall. But they changed the angle. But what is the insane part about the bent pyramid is the temple complex that was built around it, how large it is. The connecting tunnels, and then the tunnels underneath the bent pyramid itself. Very complex for frigging Stone Age man to be building at 2700 BC.
Listen, super complex. I don't think they use copper chisels and chicken bones for this one.
No.
No. I went inside that bent pyramid, and it was, first of all, the guide says, and the Egyptologists say, they don't let us in there, okay? You have to go in by yourself. I'm like, huh? I was like, oh, this means this is hard work.
Right.
So we go, and I look down the first shaft, and it's about 125 meters down. That's the first crawl. And I'm going, whew, get my brain right. I'm thinking, okay, when I get down there, and it's, there's maybe another couple here and there, but it'll be fine. Get all the way to the bottom of that, which took some time, going in backwards, and get down to the bottom, and that was just the beginning. That was literally just the beginning.
I watched a series of videos of, now probably, I'm going to guess and say 12, 14 hours worth of videos of these researchers down there trying to document all of the shafts, all of the tunnel. They didn't get it done. And watching it now, so they get to the bottom of that first shaft, and they turn around and look, and there's like 6 directions you can go in. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
It's all over the place.
Right.
Yeah, you can go. Yeah, you can get, if you don't really, If you're afraid, or if you get, claustrophobia, or you panic, you're not coming up. Somebody's got to come get you.
No, they said in this video, people get lost down there every time somebody goes down. Somebody gets lost.
Yeah, it's incredible. And it hadn't been open for 17 years or 18 years until the day that I got down there, which was incredible. So I was one of the very first people to go in after it reopened. And what's interesting is going down these shafts and then maneuvering as the corners turn this way, the corners turning left, and trying to figure out which one to go next, and then going up into smaller ones. Some are like 2.5 by 2.5. My shoulders are touching both walls or both edges of the shaft, crawling up on my toes, almost doing a plank, really, because I can't even, it's almost like I'm in the push-up position, crawling forward, hand, toe, hand, toe, hand, toe. And then you get around that next corner after about 10 minutes of crawling, and then there's more crawling to do, and there's more and more. And then you get to an area where you've got to start climbing up. And you're climbing up, and then you go another shaft, and you're climbing up, and and you climb, and you're actually at the apex point at one, by the time you're done. What's interesting is we saw in there wood. We saw tree trunks embedded into the actual construction. This is incredible. So we did a great job documenting as many of this as possible.
Yeah. Okay. So you took the words out of my mouth. You're filming all of this in 4K.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
Is the tunnel complex lit up? Do they have lights installed?
Some of the areas have lights and some aren't lit. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why. Maybe they couldn't get them lit. I don't know.
Okay. So when you say tree trunks embedded, explain what you're seeing. What do you mean?
They have these massive tree trunks standing, straight up and down in certain areas, which are part of the construction. In other words, half of the tree trunk is sticking out. The other half is actually into the construction of the stone. The stone it's wrapped or it's molded into the stone in some weird kind of way. It almost looks like those areas are poured concrete with the tree embedded into the wall. And then there's other areas where you have tree trunks, massive tree trunks going across, spanning great opening distances and going from one side of the pyramid to the other. And then in other areas, you can see where there were many more smaller ones. You can see the indention into the stone where they used to be, mounted or positioned for whatever reason. I'm still trying to figure out what is the purpose of all these trees. There probably were at least, I would say, 3 or 4 dozen tree trunks in there. And the guy who used to be my mentor, who's an Egyptologist who was born in Egypt and died about 2 years ago now, he told me that the bent pyramid was a diagnostics tool in ancient times. And it was built like that on purpose. The bending at the top or the way that the top was completed, that was the way the construction was actually made. He says that the chambers that are in there, which I was in every one of the chambers, some of them would be filled with water. And then a person with injuries or something would come in through a back door that they had there, and they would gong one of these gigantic chambers, and it would create this resonance that would then resonate throughout all those shafts and go into other areas and create this holographic image of the person's body. And then the person would stand at the very top, which is where I made it to that top area. He told me that existed. It's there. And he would look over, this were his exact words, he would look over and see this hologram or this kind of weird x-ray through resonance of the person's body and detect and then I guess analyze and figure out what's wrong with the person. And so that was really amazing. And that area is actually there. The exact area he told me is actually there. And when you look over, what's interesting is there are these massive tree trunks that go across. Some look like they either rotted or maybe somebody tried to knock them down. I don't know what happened. Some fell down. You can see them down at the bottom broken. But you can see the area where you would look over. There's a rail there, like this ancient rail. You would look over and you'd be like, okay, what is this for? Why am I looking over this? Pretty interesting. So I don't know if it's true or not, but that was his statement. He went to his grave with that statement, and he taught ancient Egyptian secrets. He used to play in the tunnels underneath the Great Pyramid. There's pictures of him when he was a little tiny kid playing underneath the pyramids and all the dried up aquifer and everything else from the Nile. So he's been there his entire life, or he was there his entire life. But if there's any credence to that, we don't know. But I'm going to take his quotes and add it to my content. It's his quotes, not mine. Right. But it's very interesting.
Now, any idea where the trees came from?
No, not yet. Nobody knows. Nobody has even a slightest clue where these trees came from, what part of the region.
Must have come from like Israel.
They weren't palm trees.
No, that's what I'm saying. They must have come from like Israel or something.
Yeah.
But wow, that's very interesting. You didn't take a little piece of wood with you?
Well, I can't say that. I don't know.
Oh, man. I'm wondering how I'm going to get through customs coming back. I've thought about this a lot, man. What is these? I don't know. Man, I don't know. I know. What is that? I don't know. Okay, so all can't be the first day.
That's the first day.
You did the Great Sphinx. You did the Sphinx, the Great Pyramid, Red, and Bent all in one day.
All in one day. By the time we left, we got there. We started at 5 a.m. on the dot, and by the time we got done, it was the end of the day. It was sun going down.
Yeah. And you shot everything.
Shot everything, and we did about 1.5 miles in the Bent Pyramid alone.
Yeah,
and that's predominantly crawling.
That's crazy town. Do you think you hit most of the tunnels?
I think we hit most. There was a few that went off to the side here, side there, and they kind of even had it roped off, like to guide you to like, don't go here, don't go, don't go over there.
Right.
And so we hit pretty much everything. Yeah.
Yeah. How many tunnels are there where you're in the Bent Pyramid and you're like, well, man, let's just keep going, and you're passing up tunnels.
There's a few areas that you can tell, like if you go that way and you can start going that way, and then all of a sudden, because there's even light going that way, and then they stop you. They stop it there,
right,
to kind of direct you in one specific path, I guess, to help reduce the amount of people getting lost in that thing.
Wow, that's a crazy day one. And now remember, everybody, Billy and I and Johnny Enoch and Muhammad Ibrahim are doing the Emerald Tablets Tour, which is February 26th through March 9th, 2022. We've got the links up for that throughout social media. Billy's got it up. I've got it up. And if you would like to go, obviously, if you're going to go to Egypt, you want to go with Billy and I and Johnny Enoch. Billy centered, me goofy, Johnny Enoch off the hook, out of control. And the three best tour guides, Frick, Frack, and Muck. But come and hang out with us. So we're going to do 2 weeks in March in Egypt. Okay, so that's day one. What happened on day two?
Whew, day two, man. Day two was we flew to Aswan. So we hopped on a plane around. We left at 4 a.m. from the hotel. Hopped on a plane around 5:30 a.m. and flew to Aswan. And then from there, as soon as we landed, we checked into the hotel and went straight to the Philae Temple. So we hopped on a little, I guess what do you call it, a ferry, but a ferry that's driven. It looks like it had a Toyota engine on it. I don't know, But we went across the Aswan Lake, and it was incredible to see these megalithic granite blocks coming up out of the lake. It was just crazy. They have a super abundance of granite everywhere, and it's all crystal granite, which is incredible. So on the way passing these megalithic mounds of granite coming up out of the water, we get to the Philae Temple, and we go out first to go see the unfinished obelisk.
That's right.
Which is incredible. Yeah. Incredible.
Now, a lot of tourists, or were you in the quarry by yourself?
There was only 2 other people in the quarry when we were there.
No
So there was one
way.
other couple that ran up in there and then ran out. They were running. I'm like, where are they running? Maybe because it was so hot. The granite was so hot, it fused my soles in both of my shoes. It fused them. And then I was walking like on cardboard. I had to take those shoes. Luckily, I bought a second pair of sneakers that I hadn't even worn yet. They were brand spanking new. I was going to wear those like in the evening if I had, something nice and clean with no dirt on it. And I had to start wearing those because it was 125 degree on you standing on top of the granite.
Wow.
So maybe that's why they were running. They ran and they looked a couple things and then they ran back out of there.
Melted Air Jordans. So I guess Nike needs to test their shoes in the Aswan Quarry.
Yes.
It's not a joke. I'm being serious. So did you the unfinished obelisk? Did you get if there's nobody there? Did you get on top of it? Did you walk the length?
No, this time, not the last time I did, but this time they don't let anybody stand on top of it anymore. I was like, oh my goodness, I want to stay on top of it again.
Right.
But I got to take some cool videos next to it and from different great angles so you can see me in the video to get a size perspective of how super massive this thing is.
Did you go into the channels next to it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah. So they give you an idea, but they won't let anybody get on top of it anymore. Maybe somebody fell off or something. I don't know. Who knows?
That quarry, when you're standing on top of the quarry, looking down on top of everything that is there, it's crazy to picture, them cutting these stones and moving them out of this quarry. And if I could go back in time, Billy, I swear on all that is holy, I would go back there, maybe to see how the Great Pyramid was built, but I would want to go to Aswan and see the relieving stones above the King's Chamber. Those are 100 tons each. How did they get those out of Aswan to Giza?
Right.
I want to see the boat. I want to see the sled. I want to see Merlin, the magician, right? I mean, it is fascinating to look into that quarry and to think about them moving that tonnage of stones and the amount of it to get it up to Giza. How do you think they got that done?
I don't think they even had enough manpower to do it, if they even were able to use mudslides and ships and boats and all this. First of all, the unfinished obelisk is about 140 feet, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on. It weighs 1,168 tons. That's not going on the back of any boat that you just kind of strewn together with some wreaths, some palm leaves, and some. Come on, that thing had to be levitated, or it had some real serious crane technology that we just don't have right now.
It couldn't go on a boat today.
No, it couldn't. It would sink the boat. It would flip the boat over.
Yes. It's 1,100 tons.
Right.
160 feet. And you look at that and you just wonder to yourself, what was the plan? Right. What was the plan? Okay, you can carve it maybe, dolerite, stones and pound and whatever for eons. Okay, I can see. What was your plan on getting it out of that quarry?
Yes, exactly. The story is that they would the Nile came close, and they would bring the boat over, and they would push it onto the boat. First of all, you can't push an obelisk of that weight and that size onto a boat. It's got to be lifted and dropped onto the boat in a very balanced manner. Otherwise, the boat would capsize. It would capsize the boat. So it has to be there's no other way to do it, that it has to be actually lifted at some point and put into place, even if it was going on a boat. So they had technology that can lift this massive weight, and it must have been, in my opinion, anti-gravity.
Yeah, it had. Look, I know it sounds crazy, but it's 140 feet long. It's 1,100 tons. It's ginormous. Red granite. You can look at it, and the only reason why it's still there is because it cracked.
Yeah.
If it didn't crack, that thing would be sitting somewhere, and we would be even more mystified. Might be in Central Park in New York, but next to the other obelisk that they stole from Egypt, which is in Central Park. I've seen it. Have you seen it?
Oh, yeah, I've seen it. Yeah. I think it was in 2019, I went to Central Park to check it out.
It's massive. You look at that, and it's the same thoughts go through your mind. How?
Yeah.
Okay, so what was next for you on day two?
Day two. So after that, after seeing the Philae Temple, which is like Greco-Roman styling, it's some more on the newer dynasty, and seeing the unfinished obelisk and the quarry, we went and checked in at the Old Cataract, which is a palace, an ancient palace. Not ancient, but 1800s palace. And they converted it into a hotel. And it was great because everywhere we went there, they knew who I was. I was like famous in Egypt, which was like the greatest thing. I couldn't believe this. All the Egyptologists, all the guides, all the hotel owners, the cruise ship owners, everybody wanted to take pictures and get my autograph, and they would give me all the upgrades. You know, when I went to the old Cataract to check in, they put me in the biggest room, what they call it, the presidential suite. Well, all the presidents of the world and everybody else that have ever been there, all the famous people, they've always slept in that suite. It was incredible. And so the way my guide set it up, he wanted to give me like the authentic, tours, the hotel stays. So all the hotels I went to were either palaces or hotels that were built in the mid to late 1800s, some a little bit earlier. So it was a good mix. And so it's pretty interesting. It was a pretty interesting thing to see and be a part of, to be in that ancient, like I call it ancient type of a structure that was so well made, much better than a lot of stuff we have today.
So we're going to have to do rock, paper, scissors for the hotel rooms. Yeah. I'm just saying. I'm just calling it right now, Billy. Yeah. There's only one presidential suite. Let's flip for it. So
that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Before we head to the break, which is now, where are we going to next when we come back?
When we come back, we're going to Abu Simbel.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Tonight is night 2 of our road trip week here on Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Billy Carson. He just got back from Egypt. We are going back to Egypt in March 2022. I got to do it. I got to let everybody know what's going on. The links for our trip are up in social media. Taking our break right now. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. More with Billy after this short break. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Fadernauts. When you think about the future of our country and where we're headed, do you wonder about the food supply? I do. Disruptions in the food supply chain could be disastrous, and they usually occur with little warning. That's why the smartest thing you can do today is to stockpile emergency food, water, and other essentials. I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, serving millions of customers for more than a decade. In fact, they're the only source my family trusts for our preparedness plan. You should too. Right now, save 20% off a full 4-week supply of delicious meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. Saving 20% helps too, doesn't it? Especially now. So go to preparewithjimmy.com and get ready. That's preparewithjimmy.com. There's no time to lose. Do it now.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
'Cause
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Night 2 of our road trip week. Here on Fade to Black tonight, Billy Carson is with us, and he just got back from his road trip in Egypt. And now, I don't know what day we're on. I think we're on, excuse me, day 3, day 4. Did you say Abu Simbel?
Yeah, Abu Simbel, yes.
Now, I posted a picture that you recently posted at Abu Simbel. And, I always talk about Edfu, and you can talk about Luxor and, these great sites around Egypt. But Abu Simbel, and the way that it was discovered, too, by the way, just kind of sat there for a long time.
Yeah.
And I forget the Italian explorer that went there and pretty much looted the entire place. But you look at those ancient photographs of Abu Simbel, it was buried, man. It was covered in sand, and it's probably it's one of the iconic sites in all of Egypt when you see these photographs and the carvings, on the side of the cliff there. It's about as remarkable as it gets. It must be incredible to see.
When you go to Abu Simbel and you pull up to the area and you get your tickets to enter into the to the site, you're at the back because obviously they've the way it's been moved up the hill basically. So as you come around the corner, it's this huge walkway. All of a sudden, your eyes start to see this massive, super megalithic structure that is absolutely mind-blowing. Like, it takes your breath away. Every time you see it, it takes your breath away. There's no way you can't pretend like it's not a big deal. You know what I mean?
Now, this you've been there. I haven't. Yeah. But there's three temples there. The big one is Ramses, right? The second?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Ramses the second, yep.
And the picture that you're standing in between the two ginormous, I don't even know. It's got to be how many stories tall?
Oh, those are at least, I don't know, 7, 8 stories tall.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Incredible. Okay, so tell us about it.
Super massive. And so when you hit that corner and you start to come around and you start to see this thing, it just lights your brain up because you're trying to figure out, like, why are the doors that big? Why are these things that big? You start asking questions like, what is the purpose of this massive construction, And this guy built this just to honor himself, Ramses, Yeah. This guy had a lot of ego, man. And in there, he's got depictions of himself, beating up some Asians and beating up some Nubians, and he's got them all in his hand, and he's whipping them, and all this crazy stuff. It's wild, man. But he's showing his defeat of the Nubians and his defeat of the Asians, and he's got his boots on their neck and all this other kind of stuff. But what's beautiful when you walk in the temple, these giant megalithic statues of Osiris just lining the pathway to the Holy of Holies in the back. Mm-hmm. And so when this temple was first built and constructed, it was carved into a mountainside, okay? It was carved from the outside going in, the same exact technique used in the Lalibela temples in Ethiopia, the Kailash temples in India, Jordan, the same exact technique is being used, I could see now, all over the world.
Like Petra, like
Petra at Jordan. Yes. Petra at Jordan, correct.
Right.
And so you can, if you're off by even a few centimeters when you begin, you can't even complete the structure on the inside. You can't carve out the elaborate interiors. So you whatever your tool is for measuring and for cutting and for navigation, it has to be extremely precise. I mean, it can't be even off by a centimeter or two because you won't be able to create these elaborate inlays and all these other rooms and stuff and doors and entryways and so forth. So, and I'm believing now that the same technique that was used at Abu Simbel is the same one used on those other locations, that's why I'm going to travel to those in 2022. Every single one of those sites, I'm going to document every single one because they're all built using the same exact technique and most likely the same exact technology as well. But Abu Simbel, they moved it up the hill because of the dam. Obviously, they knew it would be flooded. So they moved it up the hill using what we call advanced technology. They realigned it so that the sun would illuminate the gods in the back of the Holy of Holies during the 2 solstices. And unfortunately, they were still about 5 degrees off.
Yeah, I know.
So, we couldn't perfect it.
No, couldn't do it. And again, I always go back to the documentaries. There's an old documentary that is out there. There's probably a government documentary of them, attempting to get this done because the dam was being built. And watching them with the largest modern cranes on Earth, dropping stuff, breaking stuff, couldn't get it aligned, bringing in different teams, emergency stuff, welding. It was, and they didn't get it right. No, that's the crazy part. And they almost blew it.
Yeah, don't forget they had to cut everything into pieces.
Yeah.
They could. These used to be one pieces.
One piece.
Yeah. They had to cut it into hundreds of pieces
and reassemble it. And watching them struggle with these cranes and, drop the head of Ramses and whatever,
Oh, man. They spent $300 million moving that thing.
Yep.
In that era. Can you imagine what that would be worth today?
Yeah.
$1 billion?
Yeah. And still wouldn't have gotten it right. So, they blew the alignment. Okay, so what was next? What's the next stop?
Well, after right there, by the way, next door is Nefertari's temple that he built for his beautiful wife. Which is incredible.
Hathor's temple is there?
Yeah, a lot of Hathor's, a lot of nice colors. The colors are still there, which is amazing. The colors are really crisp and nice, and the etching. And fortunately, in those 2 temples, a lot of the Christians didn't get near to chip away everything yet. For whatever reason, they didn't chip away everything. A lot of the Christians got into a lot of these ancient temples and chipped off all the images of any glyphs of any gods.
Right.
But in this particular one, for whatever reason, a lot of it, some of it was chipped, but not that much. And some of it was just naturally eroded. And some of it, the majority of it was intact, which was great to see.
Yeah. Buried in sand. They had to unbury it. Okay. What's next?
Then we, that was a 4-hour drive through the desert, by the way, to get there because we couldn't fly to Abu Simbel because not enough people were going there. So we had to drive through the desert. That was a long drive. Then we had to get back to the hotel, check out, and drive back to Aswan and hop on a Nile cruise, the St. George. We had the Sonesta St. George is the one we hopped on. And we hopped on a Nile cruise. As soon as we got there, dinner was being served. Didn't have the chance to even get a shower yet. But I was starving, man. So I got me some good chow because I got tired of eating bread and water. And got some dinner there. Then day 5, next day, had a good breakfast on the ship. We sailed to Kam Ambo. And, we visited the temple that was shared by the 2 gods, Sobek and Horus, which was a nice temple.
It's
very
a nice temple.
Beautiful temple.
Yes, it is. It is. Okay, keep going.
That was a nice walkthrough. The nice, finally a break of, no backbreaking labor that day. We recorded, went through it. We had a good time with our guide, who was an Egyptologist named Sam Ramsey. And then we stayed overnight on the boat, and then we sailed to Luxor.
Now, is this particular boat, what did it look like? Is it the new one with the smoked glass sides?
Yeah, that's the new Sonesta St. George. Yeah. Really nice, beautiful boat.
Yeah, that's the one we're going to be on in March.
Yes,
I specifically requested that boat. I think it's the best boat on the Nile.
The best boat with the best food.
Yes, that's what I hear. Okay, so now you go to Luxor.
Yeah, man. Luxor, beautiful Luxor. We go visit the West Bank, and we go to the Valley of the Kings and the Valley of the Queens. We go to the Temple of Hatshepsut, which is amazing.
Okay, let's stop right there.
Yeah.
Is that, out of all of Egypt, is that probably the most breathtaking, incredible sight?
It is. It's got to be one of the top, at least the top 3, because when you pull up to this thing and you you're facing head on as soon as you get out to go towards it.
Right.
It's like right at the base of a mountain. It's carved out of this base of a mountain. And it just really stands up and says, man, we were here. This is powerful stuff, man.
She didn't play around with that temple. I mean, I think that, first off, she deserved it. Okay.
Yeah.
She played a shell game for a long time as a man. Okay, she did. That's what, and an extraordinary woman. But I think that she wanted to make sure that there was no way they were going to erase her. And she made sure that this was going to be the biggest temple ever built in the world. And it is just that when you walk up on it, isn't it?
Yeah. Just the scale of even walking towards it. It's like no other temple sits back like that. It takes a minute just to get up to the actual staircase. Start walking up those steps. And then you've got these rows of megalithic, statues sitting out front. And you're right. She had to play the role of a man, basically. Her husband died. And what she did, she told the people that, she was really related to the gods and that, that she was a daughter of the gods. And then so she deserved the right to rule. And that got her by for 20 years, Yep. And for 20 years, she did some amazing things. You can see when the feminine energy comes in and they start creating innovation, less wars, more about finding new ways to design things, new inventions and all this other kind of cool stuff and new imports and trade routes and all the stuff that she was doing, man, and really helped, evolve Egypt in a great way. She did a phenomenal job.
She absolutely did. And again, I don't need to repeat myself. I haven't been there. But when you look at the images and the videos of her temple, and just imagine the amount of time, the design, and how big it is. I don't think, and the photographs never encapsulate. They try to capture the size of it because it's wide, tall, it's big, and you just can't get that panoramic epicness of her temple. It's really that big.
You can't, and it's so hot out there. The way that it's positioned with like at midday, our cameras overheated twice there while recording. I can only imagine doing that labor in that kind of heat. You really have to be fully acclimated to that kind. You have to be born there. I mean, that was the hottest day even being at the quarry was hot, but that was temporary. This was just nonstop pounding heat there. But it's beautiful, man. It's really, really beautiful. Beautiful place, beautiful temple. The technology it's clear. All the evidence is all the way around this. When you go to Egypt, you see all the evidence is there. Advanced technology built this stuff. And it doesn't take away from any of the artisans. It doesn't take away from any of the human beings that were involved. It doesn't mean that they didn't even have a hand in building this stuff.
Right.
But what I'm saying is there was a master architect with a guide plan for this stuff. There were some tools that were laid out and some technology that was laid out, and people were taught how to use this stuff. And just that over time, of course, when a lot of that stuff was taken away or rotted or rusted away or who knows whatever happened to it, the knowledge was lost over time. Because right now, a lot of Egyptians are living in hand-built huts and collapsed structures everywhere you look. The collapse that happened in Florida a few months ago, that happens every day in Egypt. And people move into the collapsed structure with all the dead bodies underneath it.
Before we move on to Luxor, you know what? Luxor to me is like Florence in Italy. I'm just going to say, people, they go to Florence and want to, everybody, and that you're seeing Italy. And so many people as they should. I mean, Luxor's beautiful, but there's other sites in Egypt too as well. But Luxor is beautiful. So before we get to Luxor, what's the tourism like there right now?
Luxor had the most people that I've seen in a while there, because I think there's a little bit more buildup of a city there.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the nicer buildings were there. I mean, and that's a stretch, but some of the nicer buildings and structures were there. So people were living there close by a lot of these ruins. And so I think a lot of it really was just people who lived there taking the weekend to go look around, you know. I didn't really see a lot of foreign tourists, and tourism is way, way, way down.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the times you'll see in the footage that I got, it looked like we rented out these entire sites to ourselves, you know, which we didn't, with the exception of Giza and the Sphinx. Other than that, everything else looked like we just owned the place.
Wow.
It was incredible.
Wow. Yeah, you're right about Luxor, though. You see somebody's house, somebody's private house, and in their front yard is this crazy statue.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
In the front yard. It's just right there. It's all over Luxor. Okay, so for you, what is special when you walk up into the front entrance of Luxor? It's got to be dramatic.
It's dramatic, man. You know, it's dramatic because, well, you have the glyphs, the giant, you know, carvings on the front, and if you read the Book of the Dead, and they talk about the Netiru, which are the, you know, Thoth and Sekhmet and Seth and all these other people, Horus and everybody. And it talks about how they came to earth and turned mud into a kingdom. So when you're seeing this megalithic temple, and you're seeing these beings, you know, etched into it, and you're seeing these megalithic statues, and they're leading into and it's just like, man, I wish I could see this when it happened. You know, I wish I could just go back in time right now and just be here and witness this thing firsthand, you know, when it was in its glory day.
Yeah.
Because, man, I can only imagine.
Well, let me ask you, just like Cusco, right, where you see the original giant megalithic finery, right, and then you see the Inca attempt on the top of that, and then the Spanish building on top of that. You can see the three different types of construction with the stone. Right, but nothing is like the original, and you see that at Luxor, where you can look and you can see the original construction, and then you can see the add-on, and then you can see like a third generation there. The original parts of Luxor are impossible to build, right?
Yeah.
I mean, is it that evident? I see it in pictures.
No, it's definitely clearly evident. I mean, of course, some of it's been refurbished and things like that. You have newer stone blocks, now more modern stone blocks. But you can see the older, and Luxor was built over time. And you can see the difference in even some of the columns where they were repaired and things like that. But you can tell the older parts of Luxor Temple. And then you can also tell the newer parts that made it into the higher, newer period. And also when people came in now in modern times and refurbished a lot of the stuff, which they were there when I was there, doing a lot of fixing on scaffolding and things like that, trying to keep things from collapsing and repairing different pillars and columns and so forth. But it's really amazing. I think this might be the temple where I think the Frenchman, to clear out the interior of the temple, he got a great idea. He thought it was great to let the floodwaters direct the water from the Nile to come in here and wash it out, which created almost a damn near demolition of the whole thing. They had to rebuild all the columns and everything. I believe this was at Luxor when it happened. So this place has been rebuilt a few times already. But man, it's an incredible place.
Yeah, Luxor's right really there on the Nile, and but again, when you see the way the original stones are cut and placed versus the later construction, which I don't know if it was 500 years later or whenever it was, it's like a different set of engineering skills. The original builders at Luxor had it going on, right? It's just a different style.
The stonework was interlocked. The stones were interlocked in a different way.
Yes.
They overlapped. And then the newer stone is just normal stacking of stones with mortar. But the older ones, they're overlapping interlocked stones with no mortar, you know. And what's really interesting is what would have loved to see is on the back wall where they have these slots in the building where the flagpoles would go up.
Right.
And then at the top, you have the big square holes. That's where the flag would be, mounted to, I guess, and the flags would be waving from the top of this thing. Yeah, man, I wish I could just go back and see this thing in its glory time, because you could tell this was a magnificent sight to see.
And the other part about Luxor, which fascinates me, especially from the aerial view, at one point that whole thing was covered.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes,
that was an arena, right? I mean,
right.
Just a massive covering. And was it stone? Was it wood? Was it canvas? Right? Was it linen? I've seen different depictions on different ideas of how that covering was done. But at one point, we're looking at rows and rows of columns, but they were there to support a massive roof.
Yep, they had a roof. They had the roof. They had the covering. Man, what a beautiful place! And then there's a lake right outside of this, right on the right on the side of the entrance to the temple, that has been there for eons. That is not connected to the Nile.
No, that's a swimming pool. Come on, man. Was somebody's.
It never. The water never changes. The level never changes.
Right. No, I'm serious, man. That was some pharaoh's swimming pool.
It had to be. But what's incredible is how does it keep its level no matter if the dry season, or drought, the water never rises or falls, and so that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. What do they call it? What are the infinity? It's an infinity pool.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah,
at 2000 BC. Okay, so what's next after Luxor?
We did the Colossi of Memnon, of course, on the way out of there.
Oh man! Okay, again.
Yeah.
One piece,
man. 2 megalithic statues made in one piece of granite, each one. I think it was granite. Either it was granite or sandstone. I think it was granite.
Yeah,
they were granite, I
believe so. Yeah.
Super megalithic. I mean, I took a picture, of course, standing next to these so people can get a size comparison so they can have an understanding of this massive size.
Yeah, 60 feet, 50 feet.
Yeah, 50 feet, 54, 55 feet high each one.
Right.
I'm 6'4", standing next to these things. I look like an ant. Like an ant. It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know. It's just wild. So we see that. We go to.
Right there behind the Colossi, those are the two faces of Ramses, right?
Yeah.
Right? The two giant ones?
The two giant ones? Were they Ramses or were they Amenhotep? Let me see. I forgot that. Let me check just to make sure.
I thought that was Ramses, the first. Or is it Seti? No.
Amenhotep. It's Amenhotep the third.
Okay. My bad.
Yeah.
But probably
because Amenhotep is the same one who took over the Hatshepsut temple.
So and took her faces off. Yes. Okay. But back to these faces. Yeah. Out of everything in Egypt, right? And it's all incredible. Are those two faces probably the things that just defy any explanation?
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, when people get a chance to go there and see these things, they're going to be like, man, I mean, it's just going to make you scratch your head like, what the hell was going on back then? Well, you really want to know.
They're symmetrical, man. Yeah. They're perfect. They're perfect.
Everything there is laser etched. Everything there is cut by laser. I don't think there's very few items there that are etched or cut or carved by hand. When you see these obelisks and these glyphs, when you look at a glyph down here and the glyph that's maybe 10 feet above it, it's identical. There's no change. There's no angle change. There's no differential in the depth of the carving. A template, something made these things over and over again. It punched it out, And even these megalithic statues, something really laser etched these things to complete perfection. I don't know. It's incredible.
I just don't know how they moved them there. That's the other thing. And they're kind of crumbling a little bit, and that's the other sad part. I don't know if people are going up and chipping off stones over thousands of years. You know what I mean?
Right.
They look they're starting to look a little vandalized. Okay, so what's next?
And then next was the tomb of King Tut and Queen Nefertari. Incredible. Queen Nefertari's tomb is incredible. Okay, because the colors in there, the colors are. I don't think I've seen a tomb that colorful. The colors were immaculate. It was incredible in there. You had Isis in there. You had Nefertari in there. You had Hatshepsut in there. Hathor. It was incredible. It was a beautiful temple, a beautiful tomb, and the way it was cut out and the way that it drops down and has these side rooms and everything else.
Yep.
You go, what in the world? How did they do this? You're talking about cutting in to a mountainside and carving all of this out blind. You have to have something to direct you. You have to have a floor plan. You have to have pre-thought architectural plans.
You have to have light.
Right. You have to have light. You have to know your material to prevent a collapse.
Yes.
You have to know the material that you're working with to prevent that from just making that into your own grave.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
Pretty incredible.
No doubt. Yeah. And the lack, this is spoken about so much, but I think it's a very serious subject, is that the colors are retained, the newness is there, and there's no soot.
Right.
You would think if you're in there with torches or you're burning oil or, lamps or whatever you were doing to light that up, there would be soot everywhere. There would be evidence of it, and there is none. How did they light everything up? You have to carve, right? You have to make the tunnels, but you've got all of the artwork and the sculpture and everything that is going on the wall. And then you've got to paint it, and you've got to plaster it, and you've got to paint it again. This took forever, and there's no soot. How did they light those tunnels up?
Yeah, they had electricity. That's how they did it, man. They had a jet pillar with a cable coming out of it, a light bulb. They had lights, man. They had electricity. There's no other way to explain it, because even if you were able to light a torch down there, a lot of the times the torch is going to suck up a lot of the oxygen.
You're going to choke to death.
Yeah, exactly. So they had light bulbs. There's no other way around. They had light bulbs. They depicted those light bulbs in Dendera in the underground crypt, which I documented very well, and it's been on TV many times as well. So, but it's there in a few other places. In Nefertari's tomb, there are two gigantic jed pillars painted and etched into the walls on two big columns leading towards where her sarcophagus was. So incredible. They knew all about electricity and power and technology. They had it.
I'm okay with saying that today. Look, man, there's no other way to explain it. They weren't down there with pocket mirrors directing the sun. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. More with Billy after this short break. Stay with us.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Why is it we're not very good with our health regimen until it's too late? We don't put oil in the car until the engine blows up. When the body's out of balance, your health is not so good. Give your body some love. Log on to wtih.com. That's wtih.com. Try our Life Change Tea, which cleanses you from harmful intruders. A clean colon is one of the ways to bring the body in balance. We also carry organic supplements to help you get where you need to go. So do your body a favor. Log on to wtih.com. That's wtih.com. You can even visit our sales page to save some dough. Does anybody call money dough anymore? Anyway, if you're looking for short, helpful health tips, go to YouTube and punch in Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. So, log on to wtih.com, shop, get balanced, then learn some cool tips at Health Matters Now. You'll be glad you did. That's wtih.com.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRARadio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from River Moon. Just click on the River Moon Coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B Blend.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRAradio.com.
When you're in the house for longer periods of time, you can see them flying or running across the floor. Ooh, yuck. They're unhealthy, gross, and disgusting. Bugs. I loathe bugs. We keep a clean home, but occasionally bugs show up. Well, I found something that is tougher than bugs. Orange Guard. On contact, it kills hidden bugs, including ants, roaches, and fleas. Plus, Orange Guard is a residual repellent. All of the ingredients of Orange Guard are on the FDA generally recognized as safe list. Orange Guard may be used around food, humans, and pets. It comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Orange Guard, available at orangeguard.com, Whole Foods, and Ace Hardware.
Gold loves chaos, uncertainty, and disarray. History shows us what gold does when people aren't sure about the government, the stock market, their jobs, or their retirement savings. Our national debt is skyrocketing. Gold and other precious metals are a defense measure against inflation and a stock market that might take years to recover. So what can you do right now to protect yourself? Call United Gold Group. We offer gold and other precious metals delivered securely within 72 hours. Are you worried about the stock market? We can also help you set up a real gold or silver IRA or a 401k. Safe and secure. United Gold Group makes gold ownership affordable. Call now and get up to $2,500 in free gold or silver with a qualified IRA. Call 800-753-8534. That's 800-753-8534 or visit unitedgoldgroup.com.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, night 2 of our road trip week here on Fade to Black. My guest tonight, Billy Carson, and he just got back from Egypt. Obviously, there's going to be a documentary series put together. Billy shot everything in 4K. And Billy, I'm going to have you get a hold of my agent. I know a really good narrator that could have a crack at this thing. And I'm just saying, he's pretty cool. He's got some pipes. And he loves Egypt. So, do you need an audition tape?
Is his name Jimmy Church?
Man, I just want to be able to say Abu Simbel.
I like it.
I know, right? I've called this show tonight the Halls of Amenti, and we're kind of saving the best for last. There's a lot more to this trip, and I knew that it was going to be like this. There's just way too much to discuss and things. But and obviously we're going to be heading into overtime. Go ahead, eye roll, Billy. Oh man, I'm still in recovery, but we've got to get all of this in now. So Billy calls me up, dude. Halls of Amenti. I was like, no, Billy, do not tease me. Do not tease me with this. And you started to go into this. Now, we have together on this program and of course, privately, talked about the Halls of Amenti for years on this program. and you've got ideas and theories, and you've put all of this forward, not only with thought and other information that has come your way, but we got to go straight into this.
Yeah.
So for everybody out there that may not know what we're talking about, let's just do a basic definition of the Halls of Amenti. What are they?
The Halls of Amenti are a place that Thoth claims himself and the upper gods, the higher gods, would have access to. They primarily were supposedly, at least the ones he referenced, were underneath Giza somewhere, and that there were these halls that had these rejuvenation chambers in them, in these little alcoves. And they would get into these chambers, which in my opinion is probably something sarcophagi-like, something like you would see in Stargate, where the guy goes in and gets rejuvenated and comes out, raw. They would go into those things, and they would transfer their consciousness into new avatar bodies. And they would come out, and they would leave another body in there, laying in there for 100 years while they walked amongst men. Like they say, we would walk amongst men, but unlike a man. In other words, they looked like us, but they really weren't us. In other words, they had created these cloned bodies or these sleeves, and they would put these sleeves inside of these chambers, in these rejuvenation chambers, and they would swap in and swap out over time. And so I know that about 4 years ago, they found these halls underneath the Great Pyramid in this area that extended out about a mile underneath Giza with some halls. Nothing was in those halls. But then, there has to be more than one hall, because these beings, these are people that, from what you read, go from place to place. And when they leave, they go distances. They talk about things like bonds, heaven and earth, and Duran keys, and all this other stuff that has to do with portal gates and stargates and portals. And I believe that I stumbled across something that people probably have just overlooked quite a bit. It's called the Serapeum at Saqqara. It's at the necropolis near Memphis in Lower Egypt. And when you go down there, you walk down these steps, about 30 or 40 steps down, and you go into this underground necropolis type of area. It's like where supposedly there's dead bodies in there or dead bulls in there, but there's no dead bulls anywhere in this place. Not one bull bone is in any of these sarcophagi or sarcophagus, or if you want to put plural. And what you see is this hall that's perfectly carved out of solid rock. And as you walk through, you can tell by putting your hand on it that some type of a boring machine carved this hall out. And the alcoves off to the left and the right were these megalithic, if you add the weight of the tops and bottoms, you're talking about probably 130, 140 tons each sarcophagus. Super duper massive. They don't hold any bulls. When you really dig deep into the research about the Serapeum, you find out that it was the location where Ptah would get his incarnations. Okay? He would get his incarnations. What does that mean? That's where he would transfer. That's where he would get new bodies, basically. He would come in, he would incarnate in these chambers. And it was attributed to Ptah. Who is Ptah? That's Enki, Ea Enki, Thoth's father. So I really do believe after going down there, I went back a second time. The priest that guards the chambers was nice enough. He liked us. He took us to some secluded areas, even down and behind some of these sarcophaguses, and showed us areas where it looked like a portal had opened up, which I recorded very well.
Wait. Stop right there. What do you mean?
Yeah, okay. There's an area where there was solid rock, but the solid rock had some weird way it's been altered. It's been opened up. I can't really fully explain it without showing you the video or the photos. And then directly in front of it, as you move directly in front of where that opening is towards one of these giant sarcophagus, we're down in the bottom of one of these alcoves. You can see where the energy beam that came through that rock also hit the sarcophagus and warped solid granite. Warped it like it was just bent metal. In some way, this energy signature modified the atomic structure of the actual granite. It's mind-blowing. It's unexplainable. And I'm
Are you saying
surprised
that
this should be worldwide international news.
Right. Are you saying the granite was melted? Is that what you're suggesting?
It's not melted, but it's bent and warped, as if I had a piece of, if I went and ran into your car and I bent your metal in your car, it's bent and warped like that. It's bent and warped and wiggled as if some kind of energy signature hit it.
Right.
Solid granite would crack. It would crack and break apart. It wouldn't warp like that. And the only way for that to happen, the atomic structure was modified in some way when the energy signature hit it.
Sure. Now, the Serapeum itself just may be, and it's an incredible thing for me to say, it may be the most elegant engineering achievement in all of Egypt. It's perfect. It's incredible. But then you have these alcoves with the sarcophagi in them, which are too small for them to maneuver these giant granite boxes into, which are taller than you, right?
Oh, way taller.
Yeah.
Taller.
They're to understand the size of these aren't little coffins.
No,
these aren't. No, these are huge. And the bottoms are 100 tons. The lids are another 20, 30, 40, 50 tons. They're 2 feet thick of solid granite. And how they got them into the alcoves, and of which, how many are on each side of the main room, right? There's like 20?
There's probably 20. If you go down the hall, left, right, about 20.
Right.
And they fit in there snug as a bug in a rug. There's only one way to get those in there.
How's that?
You have to beam them in there.
Yeah.
You have to beam them in.
They didn't,
because you have to carve the alcove out, so it wasn't there ahead of time. It wasn't like you built the tunnel around it or the alcove around it. You had to beam them into those positions. So those items themselves, those sarcophagus themselves went through a portal to get into that location, into those positions.
Yeah, it's never been satisfactory explained. They didn't dolly those into position. They didn't go to U-Haul, rent a couple of dollies, and wheel those things in there and get them in. No, I don't know how it was done, but they are there, and when you see it, it's just impossible. So what you're saying, so that's the setup for the Serapeum. So what you're saying is this priest took you to another section that isn't open to the public and showed you a rock that was somehow blasted through.
Or opened up in some weird way. And you can, if you take the path of that opening towards the sarcophagus, we were down in back of one, the biggest one there, and that one has the stargates on it, and not just one. It's covered in stargates all the way around. The entire base is covered in stargates. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's 16 stargates etched into this one. It's the biggest one there, and it's the one that's got the warped granite in front of this gigantic opening in the rock that makes it look. It just looks like something energetic came through. It's it's mind blowing. Then he let me climb inside of it, and I got inside of it.
Now, you sound like Crazy Town now.
I know. I sound Crazy Town. You have people. You just have to go with us. You just have to go see this for yourself. That's all I can tell you.
And what do you think the purpose? Do you think this is what Thoth describes in the Emerald Tablets?
Oh yeah. Now, of course, I believe that the additional technology has been removed and stripped away out of there. Because that's what they always take away the technological pieces that make everything work.
Right.
However, these chambers were linked together energetically. There was probably something energetically on the inside or on the outside of each one of these sarcophagus. And when a body would be inside of it, in some weird way, the aging would be reversed, or at least status quo would be maintained. And then they would come back and they would hop into these different bodies. And the fact, to me, in my opinion, is that they were able to transport these objects directly in through solid rock and put them into place. I believe that they would have the same exact technology that would be needed to transfer somebody's consciousness into another body as well. I mean, you've got that kind of technology. You can do pretty much anything.
Now, what else is in this particular chamber with the warped?
It's just that massive granite sarcophagus with all the stargates etched into it. It's the only one with this particular color, and it's the only one with great gates going all the way around. It's the same exact stargate that you see in the Sumerian tablets that Enlil walks through.
Right.
The square stargates.
Right.
It's pretty interesting.
Are there other chambers in this room?
Oh yeah. In that room, no. Not in that room, no. Not in that alcove. That was an alcove that was roped off. All the alcoves are roped off. Nobody can go behind any of this stuff. But the priest was he was nice. You know, he was nice.
Now, how does
he gave us a little extra access to get in top and in back and everything else.
Now, what did he tell you about the warping of the granite? Did you ask him about it?
He can barely speak English.
Oh, okay.
You know, he really didn't have a lot to say. Now, my guides who went back there with me were showing this to us and going, they were saying, we just don't know. The Egyptologist, Shahenda Adel, who's a famous Egyptologist. She's been on BBC and everything.
She's great.
That was my Egyptologist.
Yes.
She said, we just can't explain it. We don't understand it. Nobody can figure this out. How solid granite of this massive size can be warped and bent like this without breaking and cracking. We just can't figure out how this was done.
Now,
What created this?
I see. I can't picture this. I haven't seen this before.
Yeah.
Obviously, and I'm trying to picture this in my mind. I know that at the Met in New York, they have a black granite sarcophagus there that is it's just one of the ridiculous ones. You know, it's huge. It's got to be 20 feet long, probably 6 feet tall, and they have the lid there. And and the walls of the sarcophagus, you know, they're 1.5 feet thick. Yeah. And you walk up and you look, and the carving on it, the hieroglyphics are perfect. But you go up and you knock on it, and then you kind of get a clue of the density, you know, and you're looking at the lid, you just can't imagine. And that being warped, it doesn't make any sense.
Warped and bent like hot butter. It's weird. Let me see if I can find a picture you can send you for Twitter, maybe. See if I can find one.
Oh, you can drop one right there into Skype.
Okay. Gotcha. Let me find it real quick. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It was mind-blowing, man. I had to go back a second time. I actually canceled another tour that we were supposed to go on to go back there again. Just to go through a few more times so I could figure out what the heck I was seeing. And then the deeper I dug into this particular Serapeum, it's directly linked to reincarnation by Ptah. Again, that's the Halls of Amenti, in my opinion, or something similar.
Right. I'm looking at people are posting pictures of the Serapeum and the lids and everything else in Twitter. And the more that I look at these, and this is pretty similar to the one that they have at the Met, it is that big. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 in the Grand Gallery, and then another 6 in the back. That's 18. Oh man, there's a lot. There's a lot.
Yeah.
Where is this particular room with the bent granite? How far past the Grand Gallery?
It's down towards the end of the hall.
Okay.
It's like almost the last one.
Yeah, I'm looking at the map here, but they've got it so in the map it's hard to tell where it could be. Well, they purposefully don't label stuff, right?
Yeah,
so
no.
I'm just wondering where it is in the back. Okay, so this documentary, how are you going to present this? You know, without being.
It's going to be a series of shows. You know, really, yeah. It's so much. I have 600 gigs of footage, so yeah, that would be too long for one show. So So it'll probably be a series of shows about, I'm trying to really do something where I'm tying ancient civilizations together globally. And this could be, the few episodes, the first 3 or 4 or 5 episodes of, so it'll also be tied into the footage I got from Greece, because obviously there's a huge Greco-Roman influence on Egypt in the dynastic eras, because they came there and they took over. So it's going to be linking and trying to lay down a whole track record of a timeline and the exchanges that went on, and my, asking the audience a question, presenting some of the Sumerian information, presenting the converted Sumerian names to the Egyptian names and the Kemetic names, and saying, look, do you think there's a connection here? And just trying to show the similarities between the two civilizations, the similarities between the technology, the construction, and a little bit of the backstory of some of these places.
How do you present, the halls of Amenti and Thoth and Ptah, and tie all of this together, where Ptah and Thoth go back a long ways before the Serapeum was allegedly built. Okay, so you're going to have the Orthodox Egyptologists come at you, and others saying that this information isn't correct, and to have a warped granite box there with this the round portal entrance part of this, and approaching this, they're going to come at you. So you have to present this in such a way that doesn't sound crazy, but you still have to present the evidence. How are you going to approach this?
I'm going to use a question mark technique. I'm going to propose questions. Could this be? Is this? I'm not going to say definitely it is, and then just have a good narration, talking and describing some of the things that we know are facts, and proposing a question and making connections between similarities between different cultures, different construction techniques that we use today, what would be required to do specific things today, what we can and can't do, and what we can't achieve right now.
Right.
And then hypothesize on what potentially could have happened. Not saying that this was the way, but maybe present 2 or 3 different hypotheses of how, for example, these sarcophagus got into the alcoves. One could be beamed in technology like on Star Trek. Another one could be maybe they floated them in and tried to, just various different ways, whatever, get creative, but propose different potential techniques or ways that it could have happened. But at the same time, still leading with the main concept of, in my opinion, this is advanced technology. This is evidence of advanced technology, advanced architectural abilities. And I really do believe that the people that created this stuff aren't from Earth. And it doesn't take away anything from Egyptians, and it doesn't take away anything from any race of any people on the planet. I just believe that we are cousins of space people, us humans, all humans. I don't think that human beings originate on this planet. I just, everywhere I've gone around this world now, every indigenous culture says that we were seated here, or they were seated here, or they have brothers from space and all this other stuff. I'm like, what is this? It almost seems as if we're an abandoned seed colony, and we kind of been left to fend for ourselves. So it's a pretty interesting story, and that's another reason why it's going to go on Forbidden Knowledge TV, where people can say this or say that, but it's on my network.
Now, there's another part about the Serapeum that I've always been puzzled. They want to associate this. I could have names wrong here, but I think they want to connect it to Seti the First, because his temple is right over here. And so since it's so close, this must be Seti, but it is below the ground level of Seti. Seti's above, and there was 50 or 100 feet of dirt and sand above the Serapeum where it's been buried, and it doesn't make sense in the timeline that it must have been built way before Seti's temple.
It's super ancient. It's super duper ancient. It's deep antiquity. Yeah, deep. A lot of the stuff there is not even close to the ages that they've given it.
And the other part to it. Now, the floodwaters come in and at the other part of the complex outside of the Serapeum. But those blocks that are there are as big as anything in all of Egypt.
Yeah. It's crazy. I'm sending you this image right now. Hopefully it goes through the chat here.
I got it. I got it. Let me take a look at this.
I got lucky finding it just scrolling fast.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Oh, now I see what you're saying. That don't make no sense, Billy.
No. I mean, and you can't even tell the true depth of this warp from this angle. From a side angle, you'd be able to see that it's probably about close to almost 8 inches to 10 inches deep.
What the
But
F?
no bending. It's no fracture. It's bent and rippled like it was hot metal or something.
You know the best part about that picture? The Forbidden Knowledge T-shirt. That's crazy. How far in? Okay, so it looks like it's warped like in 2 or 3 spots.
Yeah, I'm in the back of the sarcophagus,
right
away from the front walk-up area.
And the sarcophagus is looks like it's about a foot taller than you. And you're what, 6'2", 6'4"?
I'm 6'4", yeah.
Yeah. And so this main warp where your hand is, that's got to be almost 3.5 feet, almost 4 feet tall.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah,
that
directly
just does.
in front of it, you can't really see it, but if you can just pull backwards, there's a solid rock wall there with a hole in it that matches this warp, and it's larger, but it's roughly the same shape.
How deep is that?
Crazy.
Is that like 4 inches?
This warp?
Yeah, the hole.
But the hole is
the crater of the warp, I should say.
The crater of the warp is about 8 inches deep.
Yeah, that's nuts, man.
So you can't really do that to solid granite like that; it would crack. Unless you
that's
carve.
puzzle.
This is warping. This isn't even carving. This is something just energetically did something to the structure of this granite in that area.
And you can see the carving, the lines, how they curve. Wow, that's perplexing.
Yeah,
that's perplexing. Wow, this is incredible. Okay, Billy, you want to stay on for another 20 minutes?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, all right, you stay right there. We got to take a break. Let's get this in. This is Fade to Black. I cannot believe this picture, Billy, that I am looking at right here. I have seen all that there is to see of Egypt, at least I thought, until now. At least that's what I thought. We'll be right back. We'll be right back after this short break. This is Fade to Black. Overtime with Billy is next. Stay with us.
Here, and you are listening to my boy Jimmy Church on jimmychurchradio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I take Life Change Tea supplements every single day. It's what I do. Click on their banner at jimmychurchradio.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roasted to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black Blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2B Blend for 15% off of your order today.
This is Billy Carson with ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Forbidden Knowledge TV has just reached its 1-year anniversary. That's right, 1 year. And as a show of appreciation, we are giving all new subscribers a free 30-day trial of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's 30 days to binge watch thousands of movies, documentaries, conferences, workshops, lectures, yoga classes, meditation courses, and so much more. So log on to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv from your computer or mobile device, or get the Forbidden Knowledge TV app on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon, iTunes, or Google Play today, and use coupon code 30daysfree. That's coupon code 30daysfree on ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRAradio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Billy. Oh, Billy. It's overtime with Billy Carson. Night 2 of our road trip week here on Fade to Black. And last night, Billy, we had Eric Awakening Man, who you know. He just spent 3 weeks on the road looking for UFOs and Bigfoot. And wow. And that was the show last night. It was too much. He's the absolute very best. And so tonight you're with us. And I don't know how to describe that image other than that is unexplainable crazy town nuts. I mean that's got to be researched. That's got to be looked into. And I can't wait for everybody to see this on ForbiddenKnowledge.tv when you're ready to get this stuff going. Okay, let's get out of the Halls of Amenti. Now, wait. Before we do, you mentioned earlier, and we've talked about this so much, about the Halls of Amenti being underneath the Giza Plateau. Mm-hmm. Does this take away from that? Do you think that this is the answer? Do you think that this is what Thoth was talking about, and the focus would be away from Giza now and swung over to the Serapeum?
It's possible that there were multiple Halls of Amenti. Okay. So, I mean, if you're an advanced technological civilization, I've just watched some of the most recent episodes of Star Trek Discovery, and they have the most incredible technology where they have these personal transporter devices now where they just tap it and they think where they want to go and it takes them there.
Right.
That's which everything on Star Trek comes to reality. So it's going to happen. So we're talking about the ability of these people to create devices and things in multiple locations for multiple purposes. This one could have been strictly attributed to Ptah or Enki. The other one that Thoth used to access, maybe it was his main home base that he used to go to, or maybe his sleeves were down there. Maybe this one was all of Enki's sleeves. So it's possible. I don't think it takes away from it. I think it adds to it, actually. It just makes it a bigger story. How many of these are waiting to be discovered around the world?
Right. Okay, now let's go to, with the little time that we have left, I want to get as much of your trip to Egypt, your road trip in here. What was up after the Serapeum?
Took a trip about 4.5 hours through the desert to get to Abydos.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Went to Abydos.
Now, you know what's funny about Abydos for me? When you go back and you're doing your research on ancient Egypt, and you go back to Mene and the original tablet, the original hieroglyphs that were found on some of the shipping labels, right, the taxes and things, where these were reportedly the origins and the first writing in the world, maybe even predating ancient Sumer. Now, that gets controversial. The timing of everything seems to happen about the same time. But it is Abydos, right, that takes us to a lot of these origin stories and myths about ancient Egypt, right?
Yeah. Absolutely, it does. It's mind-blowing how ancient this place really, truly is. And when somebody really goes there, you start to get the sense that you're in a place that's deep antiquity. And some of the things that are just regular ancient, well, they're built on top of stuff that's super duper ancient.
Correct.
So you're still standing on sacred ground, because underneath that, there's something, and underneath that, there's something else. You know, it's really amazing. They just keep building on top of the same structures, because those structures are on top of magnetic nodes and everything else. They know the alignments are right. Why reinvent the wheel, right? So just, hey, we're going to go ahead and build right here, right where we are. But Abydos is interesting because Abydos is where you find the depiction of the technology in the hieroglyphs in the ceiling. And that's about 60 meters up. It's, in my opinion, untouched. Now, in that temple, you see where Ramses had started to erase his father's name in the cartouches and put his name in. And so he was changing the names out, because that's what they do. When you know, his father said he died, he started changing the name out. Now, if you have somebody hired and you're a pharaoh now, you have the power over life and death over somebody, and you tell them to go in there and put my name in these cartouches, erase my dad's name and put my names in, are you going to allow one of the workers to accidentally not fix one of them the correct way? In other words, one of them supposedly, just this one, didn't get done right out of all the other ones that got done perfectly fine, and accidentally happens to look like a helicopter, a tank, a airplane, and a submarine. You know, I don't see it happening. Even the Egyptologists, even the guides, the homegrown people, they told me that this was in 2014, that the Board of Tourism tells them to give the mainstream story that this was recarved hieroglyphs. He says, but you were too advanced for that, because they knew who I was. You're too advanced for that. We're just going to tell you, nobody knows what happened here. These were never retouched, and we're told to give the mainstream story. That's what we're pitched and told how to do, and we're trained to give that story, but you're too advanced for that. So in my opinion, it's really a depiction of technology. And it's not the only place that I've seen some of those glyphs in Egypt. There are some on some sarcophagus inside of the Egyptian Museum. And you go, oh my God, there's another one right there on this sarcophagus. Was that another accident? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
In a different dynastic era. So I don't buy the story about they were changing the names and they accidentally made it look like technology. I don't buy it.
No. And the problem that I have with that story, first off, they had to create that story. Yeah. Because if they didn't, and this is what it is, then we've got a holy crap moment, and we've got something that we have to deal with. They can't go there. But when you look at this, it's not only the helicopter and what looks to me like a fancy Italian yacht. That's what I see in the one to the right. The spaceship looking thing that is below the yacht. We're talking about 3 advanced technology things that are out of place on top of each other, all happening at the same time. 3 accidents created. No. One, okay.
Yeah.
2, pushing it. 3, come on, right?
Yeah.
But it's not those, which are incredible, but it's the one on the bottom that nobody talks about. That thing looks strange to me too as well. The one in the bottom row. It doesn't look like any other hieroglyphics I have seen anywhere else, and it looks like, man, I'm just going to say it. It reminds me of like the land speeder in Star Wars. Okay, that's it, right? I'm just going to say it. But that's that. Now we've got 4, which takes it way beyond any type of consideration here. But
4 anomalies in that small piece of area. Highly unlikely that you're going to have that many anomalies in that one small area. If it was spread out all over the entire, in the entire temple, all over the place,
right?
Okay. But in all on the same one glyph, it's just come on, it doesn't add up. Something happened there. Something interesting. Somebody left a message behind about something they saw, something they were told to write, and these people would get killed by the Pharaoh if they screwed up. Like, this wasn't like play. Hey, let's go in here and screw this stuff up. Their life depended on this. Like, your life depends on you getting this right. There was you're
right.
One of the pharaohs that came back and saw his name wasn't there, and he was like, "Hey, where's my name?"
Somebody dies.
Yeah.
I mean, you're done. Now, there's another thing that I think is probably most significant about Abydos. It dates back to the oldest of the old of Egypt. Not only with the language, it's the oldest languages, it's the oldest writing, it's the oldest temples, it's the oldest tombs, the first of everything of dynastic Egypt. Everything, centers right there. There are parts of Abydos which allegedly predate Giza. Well, they do, but I'm talking about the temples themselves. Are incredible. Now, we have to understand that 50 years before Abydos, 100 years before Abydos, the Egyptians were Stone Age people living in the desert.
Yes.
And they go from that to Abydos in very short order. And I have issues with that, Billy. You don't go from one type of culture to this overnight, an apparently upright, functional civilization with laws, rules, music, mathematics, writing, art, beer, astrology, astronomy, geometry. It doesn't make any sense how you go from that to Abydos seemingly overnight.
Right. It doesn't. That's what Thoth says. He was ordered by his dad to go and to the land of Chem, where there were hairy barbarians. After the Great Flood, the waters were receding, and he was told to help raise them back to a high level of civilization. And when they came to attack him, and he stunned them, and he told them, look, I'm the son of Atlantis. I'm here to bring you guys back and teach you wisdom and understanding, language, and all this other stuff. You get the idea that somebody came in and stopped the caveman path and set up a new path and said, look, we're going to go down this path, guys. Learn this. I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to show you how to use these tools. I'm going to teach you how this is done, teach you how to build this, and put them on a path towards this construction technique and this knowledge and this civilization and this, this order that they didn't have before.
Right. And now I just mentioned 100 years before Abydos, right? And this is what the history books are trying to force feed us. 100 years before Abydos, unorganized tribes living in the desert. Abydos happens. Mene happens. 200 years later, 200 years, Giza allegedly happens.
Yeah.
That and that kind of progress with the civilization that quick doesn't make any sense. And I don't think that we're buying that story anymore. Not only you and I, but the rest of the world. It's a big bowl of BS.
It's a huge bowl of BS. The dating is fabricated to maintain the I guess the idea or the path that they want us to believe things went. For whatever weird reason, I still am scratching my head. I guess maybe it's tied into not wanting to have access to advanced technology or to know what really happened, because if we did, religious systems would probably collapse when we found out that some of the religious stories all were copied from these ancient tablets and these ancient Egyptians. I don't know. There's so many hypotheses as to why, but the suppression game is hard. I mean, it is hardcore. They will kill you to protect this information.
I was in New York, and I'm going back to JFK. I was there filming TV series, and my chauffeur, my driver, Egyptologist from Egypt, right? Wow. Of all the what are the odds? So he's asking me what I'm filming in New York, and I tell him, and he's like, "Aha!" I'm going to say he was probably 40. Wasn't that old. Said he left Egypt and left Egyptology that he went to college for 10 years for, and was part of the university system. Said he couldn't take the lies. He couldn't take the lies anymore. That everybody that goes through the programs and they're out and they're doing the excavations and you're going through history studies at the university there. He said you just uncover one thing after another and you start asking questions, and everybody there, everybody knew that there was another story going on here, a parallel story to the history of Egypt. And everything is repressed. Everything is held back. And he said he had to leave. And he's trying to find, this was 5 years ago, trying to find an outlet and a way to be employed here in the United States with his knowledge. Can't get anywhere with it. And I had a long 1 hour discussion with him about how he was lied to in the educational system in Cairo.
Wow. I believe it because my homegrown archaeologist and Egyptologist in 2014 told me that they told us to give the mainstream story, but he said, you're just too advanced for that, so we're going to give you the truth. So I believe what you're telling me.
Now, what in the short time that we have left, did you make it over to the new Grand Museum?
Made it to the new Grand Museum. Man, that thing is phenomenal. Unbelievable.
It's open. It's open and happening.
Yeah, open and happening. It's great.
Tell me about it, man.
Oh, man, they have these, they have mummies in there. And, of course, no video, no photos, no cell phone. They don't want you to see these elongated heads, so they've got these big heads. And what's interesting is these heads are clearly not a result of binding, because binding reduces the cranial volume. These heads have more volume in the back. It's expanded volume. You don't get that from binding.
What?
These people were born this way. They were born that way. And I mean, it's like, wow, no wonder why they're the one that's taking videos of this stuff. Elongated heads. I think there's 5 or 6 mummies in there. All of them were pharaohs. All of them were elongated heads, big skulls.
How beautiful is the museum? It's supposed to be the most spectacular thing ever built.
It's incredible. I mean, I could have spent 2 days in that place.
Now they've spent like $1 billion on this museum.
Yeah, it's and underneath you got these see-through floors,
right?
And you're looking down on top of ruins as you're walking through the museum. This thing is sick, man. It's just incredible. Okay, it's an incredible museum. You're overlooking the pyramids. Like one of the walls is like solid glass, and you're overlooking pyramids on one side, and you've got this holographic projection going up where you've got all these different gigantic mummies and so forth spinning around in this circle, and then you can go downstairs and you can see them. That's where you can't take the cameras and the video or nothing like that. Of course, they have security guards at every turn. Everywhere you look a turn. If you move too fast in one direction, a guy's in your face like this. Like, what are you doing? So it's pretty interesting. And then you have they broke it down by era, all the way starting from
Mene.
Dynastic 1.
Right, Mene.
All the way to the current day, almost with like the Arabs.
Okay.
So they went far. They went all the way back and came all the way forward. It's pretty nice. I love it.
Now, the other part, the pyramidiums and the caps, do they have a larger display of those? I know at the Old Cairo Museum they had a couple.
They have them in another museum that's opening up. I think it's open now that I left. There's another museum that's opening up that has those in them, and a lot of the busts and the statuettes and stuff like that. So that one, we couldn't go in it because it wasn't ready yet. I think it's open now.
Now,
so
what
it'll
about
be open when we get there in March?
Now, what about the King Tut artifacts that came out of his tomb? Are those on display?
Yeah. Those are on display. Yeah, incredible. Just immaculate, because King Tut's tomb was buried underneath another pharaoh's tomb. And then when people were digging that one out or trying to get into it, the rubble covered over King Tut's tomb, kind of really making it a time capsule. Nobody realized he was even there till much later. So the grave robbers couldn't go in and rob it. They didn't know it was even there. So, so when we found it, boom, everything was in there. Everything was intact. Incredible.
Now, do they have King Tut's solid gold coffin?
They have the solid gold coffin. They've got the They've got the box in a box in a box, like those eggs that keep coming out. Whatever. It's interesting. I don't know. I don't understand why they would do that. I guess that was interesting. And then you've got all the little pieces and all the gold and everything. It's just an incredible thing to see.
Now they also have the boat from Giza, the Great Pyramid, right? They moved that.
Yeah, they moved it.
So it's there on display, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They moved the boat.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
That boat was down there it was at Giza, right by the pyramids.
Yeah, it was in that pit. Yeah, it was in that pit. How long do you need to spend, and I want to know because I want to try to make some plans here. Yeah. Do you need more than one day to see the entire museum?
I think one full day would be good. If you really want to just take your time, like I rushed through it. I was rushed because we had so much other stuff to do.
Right.
But if I wanted to really just take my time and really go through it, I would spend, 5 hours. I would do 2.5 hours, take a lunch, come back and do another 2.5 hours.
Right. I can't wait to get there. Billy, what's the timetable of getting this stuff up onto forbiddenknowledge.tv?
I'm going to start the editing process. I just put everything onto hard drives and sent them up to the editor who lives in the UK. So we're talking probably about maybe the first episodes should start popping out within the next 15 to 30 days, 30 days max. And from there, it'll be episodal, so it'll be episodes coming out. But I'm dying to get all this stuff out, man. Between Egypt and Athens and Santorini and Akrotiri is probably almost a full terabyte.
I don't know how you get it done. I really don't. I was speaking to one of our mutual friends that we're about to go and shoot. I don't want to say any more than that, but you know who I'm talking about. And he goes, so Jimmy, man, how do you describe Billy? I go, he gets it done. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. We've done so many projects together, and everything is so ambitious and so much stuff going on. Everything happens.
That's right.
Billy gets it done, and from the community to you, Billy, just absolutely incredible. Thank you for all of your hard work, and I can't wait to go to Egypt with you, man. I cannot wait.
Yeah.
For our 2 weeks together in Egypt. It's going to be so much fun.
It's going to be dynamic. And on the cruise, we got to play the Forbidden Knowledge music. It's going to be the Forbidden Party on the cruise, man. Yeah.
Are you and I, okay, are we going to sing? Are you and I going to sing?
I mean, I'm not a singer. I'll rap a little bit.
I cannot wait. Wait. It's going to be incredible. Billy, thank you so much. And get some rest. I know that you're still recovering, and I'll talk to you tomorrow afternoon. All right? Thank you so much.
Thanks. All right, man. Later.
Billy Carson, and I can't wait. The Egypt tour, the Emerald Tablets tour, is February 26th through March 9th, 2022. I've got all of the links up in social media, and I know you want to go. I know you do. So all of your questions are answered there. What day, what hotel, what museum, what site, what temple, everything is mapped out every single day. So you can go and check it out. And one of the things that you can do that I did, you've got the hotel name. Go, look up the hotel, check it out. You've got the temple site. Go and check it out. You've got the boat. Go and check it out. You can go and look at everything, the entire itinerary is laid out for you. So go, and I hope to have a whole lot of Fadernauts on this Egyptian tour with Billy and I and Johnny Enoch and, of course, Muhammad Ibrahim, who is our tour guide and obviously our logistics in Cairo. It's going to be incredible. And now this photograph that I looked at in the Serapeum, I get it, everybody. I want to see it. That's not my photograph. It's not there for me to publish. It is a still lifted from a video, and I can't go and do that. So you're going to have to wait. But Billy just said it's going to be about 2 weeks. Not that big of a deal. 2 weeks, maybe 30 days, and the first he's got 600 gigabytes of video footage shot over 12 days in Egypt in 4K. All right, it's a lot of stuff to go through and get edited, but it's going to be coming out here very soon. So with that, I want to remind everybody what is going on tomorrow night on this program. For the first time, Todd Standing, and he has spent the better part of over a decade researching and chasing down Bigfoot. So we're going to do all of that tomorrow night with Todd Standing. I'm very excited about this. So hang tight tomorrow night, Todd Standing, which is night 3 of our road trip week right here on Fade to Black. Fade to Black is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Kevin. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vitoa, Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy. SpaceboyMusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. This broadcast owned and copyrighted 2021 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tomorrow night, Todd Standing. Until then, I want you to be safe. It's time to fade to black.